to bring you our feature presentation.
It is as if, like, I've been in suspended animation. I've been caught up in 21st century tribulations. But now, like the crew of the Botany Bay, you, Matt, have sprung me from my stasis canister. And here I am with you in the 23rd century.
Yeah.
Doing weird warm-up stretches. And breathing sharply through my nostrils and wondering, what is the state of Star Trek?
What is the state of Star Trek?
I have no idea. I am not caught up.
They are the current regime, and I don't mean I don't care about. I really don't want to talk about the business side of everything.
Oh, is there stuff going on in the business side of things? Right?
Essentially, for anybody who's listening who doesn't know, Paramount got bought by Skydance, thank you.
Skydance, yeah.
And in order to get it approved, they essentially paid a multi-million-dollar bribe to the Trump administration to. Yeah,
this is part of why I've tuned out slightly. But I know that they're also, I'm very fond of South Park. They're also doing that, though, right?
Yeah, and
so
the South Park
fired
guys,
Stephen Colbert, and yet.
Yeah, the South Park guys got a more than $1 billion deal to just keep making South Park.
Wait, what is going on? That's very. I'm very glad, but that's very incoherent. What's happening?
I think it's very much like this is. At the end of the day, this is not an ideological. Not specifically administration, but just like the way in which. Specifically, at the very least, entertainment and creative businesses are interacting with the administration, and the culture of the time is not ideological, it's transactional, which kind of is top-down because the President of the United States views everything as a zero-sum transaction. So very much, I think, from the Skydance Paramount proposal, it was like, we don't actually care about the ideology or the lilt of anything. It's strictly what we need to do, how much do we need to pay to get this through, and then we're going to pay the people that we know will make us money moving forward.
What is the effect of this, if any, on Star Trek? How has Star Trek, because I have a dim memory, it's just images of season 2 of Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
And I remember Scotty showed up and said lieutenants, and I got very happy. Everybody seemed to be boxing all the time.
Yeah.
And did we go to Rigel 7?
We did. We went to Rigel 7. And the moon over Rigel 7 was the problem.
Gotcha. I'm sure that's the most frequently asked question after one has gone to Rigel 7. Did I go to Rigel 7?
Yeah.
But all of this stuff in the aggregate felt like it was an abandonment of utopia somewhat by Star Trek, whereas the first season seemed very utopian, and the second season was more like lines like, I'm going to teach you about your human side. I'm going to show you how to lie.
Yeah. There's a little, it's definitely more character study focused, I think.
Yeah.
Which there's a lot of that going on. I think there's still the utopian bit in the background, but I think the focus has been mostly on just like tackling whatever problem, whether it has a message to say or not.
I see. And are the character profiles, because that's the thing, I also remember in season 2 that people had like dark pasts as like SEAL Team 6 style commandos, and like were addicted to
Dr.
Like, in season 2 and 3.
In season 2, I mean the focus of the general, what I've gathered now, having seen the lion's share of season 3 too, is that the second season's focus was on the through lines are ramifications of the Klingon War and how that affected certain members of the crew, and focusing more on the people who were dealing with personal or otherwise tragedy in general. But then that kind of gets changed in season 3, which is something that I at least appreciate.
Yeah.
Where there's a little bit of like leaving that behind a bit, which I'm like, okay, because we could talk about it with some of the episodes, but it was like for similar reasons that I struggle with certain episodes of Deep Space Nine because of the themes that it was putting out there. I struggled with a couple of episodes and moments in this one, in this season especially.
Different themes or the same kind of thing?
It was to me, it was doing very much the same thing. Deep Space Nine to me was generally this idea of like, we're going to challenge the idea of the Roddenberry future and then see what sticks and how it sticks.
Yeah.
And there were certain episodes where I just, while they might be produced well, I was like, yeah, but at this point, then what is it a Star Trek message anymore? One of the most famous ones is in The Pale Moonlight, where, again, considered one of the greatest episodes of Deep Space Nine. Some people would say it's one of the greatest episodes of Star Trek, but it's about the lead character of the show conspiring outside of, closed room meetings and stuff to trick a group of people into fighting a war on his side without going into detail. And this is an episode that aired 27 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And so there's a little bit of that in at least particularly certain episodes and moments of season 2. Although I think that they're less bothersome to me now than they were 2 years ago when I watched them initially.
The thing though is, like you're saying, it is disorienting to have character continuity in these different weekly universes, but that cast, as I remember, is so good that I imagine they smooth that out a bunch. Like I keep thinking about La'an, that
who became
like,
somehow my favorite character.
Absolutely. Like her ability to, it's like, okay, here's your assignment today. You have to experience what is it like if you go back in time, fall in love with someone, they die in your arms, you come back to the present, and they are now on your ship. Like, which she could do that like absolutely effortlessly. It's an amazing.
Christina Chang's
it's a tour de force.
Great.
Amazing.
And Tomorrow, which is the episode of the referenced, I think it's episode 3 from season 2.
Yeah.
Might be my favorite of that season, I think.
Okay, yeah. What, though, as on this anniversary, does Star Trek mean for you? How are you using the product lately?
I mean, these days, escapism is a big one.
And does it work as that? Like like the big swings aspect of Strange New Worlds is probably very diverting, and you don't crash into current. Yeah,
there's not a lot of politics in the musical episode.
That surprises me.
Yeah. And there are episodes that like I watch and I'm like, I don't, this didn't jive with me. Like the one that at some point we can talk about that came out in season 2, which is the one where a ambassador gets assassinated. I was like, I don't know if I like this and what it says about anything, but I'll take that over no Star Trek.
Yeah. So what it says about anything. So the guiding philosophy, like our heroes and the way they approach the world, you objected to in this.
Yeah. And because to me, Star Trek has always been, it's what everybody says is the idea of the positive future, that we will get to this point where we don't have, or if we have struggles, we know how to deal with them as adults. And the stereotype of the original series is like, humans are perfect, but we go to this planet that's just really screwed up, and the people on the planet have an issue that doesn't sound too far removed from some of the issues we're having right here and right now.
Yeah. Often it's that they're lazy kids
Oh yeah.
Right. And you gotta get it together.
Yeah.
Your Bible is a lie.
It's called freedom and you'll like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Prime directive, be damned.
Serpents,
So, okay.
Mr. Scott. Serpents for the Garden of Eden.
Now, this is extra embarrassing, and I blame it on the suspended animation, but I don't recall that episode.
It's a private little war. It's the Vietnam episode.
Oh, that's the most topical of all.
It's the Bones, do you remember the old brushfire wars, the mid to late 20th century?
Why, yes, I do.
And it went on bloody year after bloody year.
The stuff they know and don't know, like, especially Space Seed picking up the tyrant of centuries ago. Genghis Khan. I just realized where they might have pinched the name. Yeah, that's very interesting.
We offered the world order.
This guy's strangely charming. We should totally pop him out of the freezer and then let him run everything.
Yeah, let's
give
just
him all
see
the
what
books
happens.
he wants to read. And
all the technical
sharp
manuals.
objects.
Yeah. It's Star Trek is very much it's each era of Star Trek is a product of the person who is creating it. So there's always a lilt to it, but I do feel like if you're going to do it in a way that feels true to I don't want to know true Scotsman Star Trek, but true to what I feel it is supposed to be at its core, which is like, yes, the positive future of with the idea that smart, capable people who work together can solve problems. Like that's the condensed core version of it for me. And those smart, capable people can have flaws or tragic backstories or some type of trauma that gives them conflict or difficulty in dealing with the problem, but eventually they can work with others to rise to the occasion and accomplish the mission, whatever the mission ends up being. At least that's what it is to me. I don't know if you interpreted it differently.
It feels like it's interesting that you emphasize the competence part, because as I've brought up in previous shows, I relate to characters like Arthur Dent who are way out of their depth, and I relate to a strain of Kirk's character that I feel got a bit lost in the shuffle because he became this risk taker with extraordinary luck. But in a lot of the episodes, and I feel like in his original character breakdown in the series Bible, he was just grappling with the weight of command, and decisions make him pass out. And there's an episode in season 3 that is Kirk focused that I think you might enjoy for those reasons. Okay. So they're weaving that back in. Yeah, they're very much a lot of the through line of Strange New Worlds version of Kirk is he needs to learn how to be the captain that everybody comes to love, and part of that is he's going to make some mistakes. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so we'll meet back here. I've reacclimated myself. But you were saying, so like that idea of relating to competent characters and some of the difficulties with that. Yeah, I love the idea, again, back to the eugenics wars, that perfection is bad and frailty is celebrated, and it is flawed human beings who have created a society. And unfortunately, this philosophy is often in tension with itself in Star Trek, because it often does end up as like gunboat diplomacy instead of utopian. I've talked about this. It was created by war veterans. Sure. The idea of harmony and nonviolence and exploration, and like at least those stated goals, and maybe even the tension is exciting to me too, because in the same way that the individual characters have foibles, the whole project has foibles too, and they're doing the best they can to uphold the tenets of Idic and that sort of thing. I think is my favorite with Star Trek. But now it occurs to me, I just realized through the haze of time, I have notes on these. So that I can be somewhat more helpful than just being your interviewer here on this stuff. So let me see if I can bring up. Maybe we'll actually have some material you can pull out. Here, let's see.
I'm curious what you thought of the first episode, because I had.
You know what? I'm curious too. It's been a while. Wonder what I thought.
Because the first episode, Broken Circle, I had sort of a visceral response to it, but then have warmed to it over the last couple of years and repeated watching.
Commander Pelia, I am not sure what you are implying.
I'm not implying anything. I'm flat out saying someone violated about 17 Starfleet regulations.
So, all right, you have said the Broken Circle.
Yeah, so that's
spoke to you viscerally.
Yes.
And I also felt like a man in a strange world.
Yeah.
Again, if I'm remembering this all correctly.
Yeah, it's ostensibly getting the band back together in the second season, but yeah, it's under the guise of Klingon War stuff.
But also, what band are we getting back together? Because I was surprised that Dr. Mbenga was addicted to Protocol 12, which, as I understand it, is an admixture of angel dust and Advil.
Yeah, that's essentially, yeah. Which apparently we find out later in the season he invented.
He invented it?
He invented it. It's fine.
Why did he invent it?
Klingon War reasons.
What is where does the Klingon War come from? Because this is not precedented in the original.
The Klingon War that they talk about in Strange New Worlds does get seen on screen and does occur in the first two seasons of Star Trek Discovery.
Okay, so that's what I was thinking.
The general theme of the first season of Star Trek Discovery is all about this Klingon War that essentially they talk about in Strange New Worlds.
Gotcha.
So at least it existed and it happened in some shape or form.
Okay. So also Doctor being on angel dust is precedented, at least in Harlan Ellison's Druggy McCoy in the original draft of City on the Edge of Forever. So I suppose that's okay too. But what was your visceral response?
I didn't like that port. Like I appreciated.
You mean superhero berserker Star Trek was
like Nurse Chapel and Dr. Mbenga just
hiya.
Yeah. Like it doesn't do very much for me.
Yeah.
I appreciated the idea of like, hey, we're in a sticky situation with a planet and the Klingons, and we're trying to do good, and we're gonna bend and break some rules to save lives. Cool. That makes sense within what I want out of this.
Yeah.
When suddenly we learn that Dr. Mbenga is super secret special agent John Wick man who has super soldier serum in his pocket at all times just in case to fight Klingons, I was like, why is this? Like, and it's essentially just there because they want to set this up kind of for the assassination of the dignitary later on in the season.
So this pays off. I forgot. It's season 2 the assassination happens?
Yeah.
How did I miss this? I watched season 2. What is going on?
So like I was, once they started talking about the war stuff and they get into the nitty gritty of we're all battle hardened veterans. I was like, it doesn't do anything for me when I'm watching it in the Star Trek context. If this is Battlestar Galactica, totally makes sense with that world that we've built, and I'm in it. But it strains the verisimilitude of what I have in my head for Star Trek.
Also, I guess, speaking of Errand of Mercy, it's a very Cold War parallel. And so the idea of this very hot war with commandos, even though we're a little bit before that, I think it's the space 50s, and so it should be maybe a little what am I saying? I don't know. I'm saying not this is the way it should be. I'm saying this is maybe the reason there's a disconnect for you and for me when we see the commando stuff.
Well, it was this the idea of like the Klingons and the Federation should never go to toe because it would end everything, and like that was the whole core concept of that in the original series. So the idea of like, we went at it for like 2 years and then stopped.
Yeah, and it's very disorienting. I'm looking at my notes here from back then, and the sentence that I never thought I'd read in a Star Trek context. Quote, they take the Protocol 12 to fight their way to a payphone to tell Starfleet about the false flag operation.
Yes.
End quote.
Which to me is just, hey, we need an action beat here instead of doing something different.
Yeah.
And so like that, especially when I was getting back into, when I watched this when it aired, which is,
It's
June of
long.
2023.
Yeah, this is why I'm a little foggy. on
Yeah,
this.
yeah. I was like, oh, I don't want more of the war stuff. I wanted to get away from this. That was where my headspace was 2 years ago. Now it's still, I'm not crazy about it. I don't like Protocol 12. I don't think it, even though there is a setup payoff to it, it doesn't do very much for me. As a concept, it doesn't do very much for me. But I do like the idea of like, hey, we're trying to stop a hot war from happening, and we will go to great lengths to prevent that from happening.
Yeah. Protocol 12 in a world where everyone has an electric razor in their pocket that can dematerialize a person
Yeah.
seems unnecessary, but fun, I suppose.
Yeah, it's one of those situations of asking why this when we have all of this other crap, like, and it's mostly just boils down to like, this is the scene that we wanted to put in here. So
How is so? As I said, I'm a Luddite. I like the Star Trek where people wear beige pajamas and talk about whether a sensor scan is too aggressive a thing to do to the adversary. How has I'm sorry to make you the ambassador of all fandom for Star Trek, but I've been living under a rock. How was this received by and large?
I think this one was okay. I think people were just glad to have Strange New Worlds back. I think at that point.
That's my sentiment too. Absolutely. I like the show a lot.
And I think, but ultimately it was just sort of, it was a perfunctory episode they needed based off of where they had left off. And to get to the point where we have the court episode. it's setting up things that get touched on over the series, over this season, which is Chapel and Spock's relationship, M'Benga's war history, getting Pelia on the ship, Carol Kane's character, and just like establishing the general things that we're gonna move into. And at the end of the episode, they talk about like, oh, Spock saved us, got us out of a war because the Gorn are on the edges of space, and we're gonna have to deal with them later. And then, of course, that comes back to haunt them at the end of the season. So to me, it's very much a setup episode.
That's right. We had Gorn at the end of the first. I see. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. And we had the amazing kind of paperback cover matte painting, and so that's all setting up Gorn that show up at the end of 3.
At the end of season 2,
at the end
for
of
the cliffhanger
2.
that goes
Okay.
into 3.
Gotcha. So, all right, another visceral one for you was the courtroom one.
So then somebody turned me in, and now Starfleet is asking me to hide again. So that no one has to know an Illyrian climbed the ranks of Starfleet. It'll be like it never happened. Like I never happened.
So, you had your playtime acting like one of them, accept your dismissal, take your licks, and go home.
No,
Why not?
because I shouldn't have to hide anymore. None of us should.
Again, another quote in my notes. Didn't think I would ever type something like this in response to a Star Trek, but quote, Starfleet race laws are draconian, unquote.
Yes. Because essentially the one thing that they have taken from continuity that's been touched on in Deep Space Nine, among other things, is genetic engineering is banned throughout the Federation.
Sure.
And so the precursor to this whole episode is, number one is genetically engineered. She did not disclose that when she joined Starfleet, and then was arrested at the end of season 1 because they found her out.
By Captain Batel, as I recall.
Yes.
She puts the binders on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they use the genetic engineering thing as the pretense fill in protected class thing to have the courtroom episode about. So to me, like, this is the whole thing about Starfleet's genetic engineering stuff is weird and wonky, but as the stepping off point to have your metaphor about what's actually going on in the world, I am willing to give that one up.
Let me see what else. Again, my memories are vague, but you're saying it ends up where you would have it end up. Like there's a win, there's a precedent that can now maybe start to change the course of things.
It's the idea of like they don't immediately change the law that bans it, but they establish, okay, she wasn't doing anything wrong. She's essentially they make the case that she was essentially asking for asylum by joining Starfleet because of the background that she came from and trying to escape it. But it's also changed the perception of how the Federation should be looking at its laws, and perhaps down the road that allows for more opportunity to change. And so
sorry, go ahead.
And so like at the end is the one lawyer who is also a genetically engineered person, is like, she gets the clout by winning this case to be able to have more fights in favor of these people in the future. And it could potentially be the pebble that rolls downhill and becomes a big giant boulder.
And now, frantically going through my notes.
Yeah.
It is Una who is on the hot seat.
Yes.
Because she is an Illyrian, and this is a planet of
genetic engineering.
people.
This is the one that the line that's always a little like, this doesn't sit. Sounds weird. Is the genetic engineering is part of their culture?
Yeah. I could see that. I could see being really into
modding,
tinkering. Yeah, but the interest so La'an, even though she is the descendant of Khan,
yes,
is not an augment. She just has some remnant.
She has the surname and the fact that her 32nd great grandfather or great uncle was Khan Noonien Singh.
So she passes. She's not.
And one of the
like
discussions,
you're not a Mahdi. Okay.
And there is a discussion that occurs between La'an and the lawyer about that, like her feelings about augments and Illyrians and all that sort of stuff stems from this feeling from within her that if people like Khan were capable of such things, that she could be too. And the lawyer's essentially like, well, yeah, because everybody's capable of it and it has virtually nothing to do with whether or not they're genetically engineered or not.
You'd think that would be in the Starfleet code. That seems like a fairly obvious insight.
Yes, but the weird sticking point that these showrunners have to Star Trek continuity is that this problem can't be solved until an episode of DS9 comes out. So they decide so this is one of those things where I was like, we're adhering to canon in the weirdest ways.
Yeah.
But
why bring this up? I guess I don't know.
But I'm approaching it again. I'm approaching it from within the context of just like this season of Strange New Worlds and this episode of the show, knowing that it's more episodic than serialized. And on that level that I engage with it, I think it tells a decent story with the right amount of social commentary.
Okay, so it's we can't fault. It's okay that they dredge this thing up, because you're right. It does sound very germane to what's going on.
Yeah, and one of the arguments that's made during the court case is like, no society can ever necessarily be perfect, but we want to strive to that, and that does require that certain things are going to change, because what might be considered as right and just in one period of time may not necessarily reflect the values of people who come after.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm thinking of a Thomas Jefferson quote carved into marble somewhere in DC that I think expresses much the same idea about things. So they brought that in too. He brings up, as a snappily dressed 18th century man, Jefferson brings up a waistcoat and how it fits when you're a child and how it doesn't fit when you're a grown up. And I think that could be adapted to a Nehru collar Starfleet uniform too. So
when it doesn't have to be steamed in between takes.
That's right. When it's wool, because everybody was throwing their backs out because of the spandex.
But I generally enjoyed it. Again, I'm a sucker for a good Star Trek courtroom drama. Even Court Martial, which had really, the stakes were Captain Kirk's career, but like there weren't any broader implications. Yeah. But it was fun, and it was, I love watching everybody get in their dress uniforms and talking about all their decorations and what they believe and have big speeches and stuff. So
and the glowing "you're under oath" armrest is completely replicated from Court Martial. And I also, this was fun too, I have in my notes, the one emotion that Vulcans are totally allowed to have is smarm.
Oh yeah. It's
Vice Admiral Pasalk cross-examining Una.
Oh my
Very
God.
smarmy.
That was another fun little moment is earlier on in the episode where M'Benga and Ortegas are watching Spock have a conversation at the bar with Pasalk. And Ortegas is of the belief that, like, they can't hear them. And Ortegas is of the belief of, like, oh, they're chummy and, like, oh, I agree, this is logical. We should prosecute whatever. And M'Benga's like, you've not spent a lot of time with Vulcans. You can't tell from their body language that they hate each other. And what you can see is they're just having this seemingly polite, direct whatever.
Yeah.
And then finally Spock just stands up and walks away and then approaches M'Benga and Ortegas and says, I apologize that you had to see that outburst.
That's so.
And, like,
I totally forgot about that.
That's great.
So funny.
Yeah, like that. Yes, that's Spock. But that's a perfect little Star Trek moment.
Yeah, absolutely lovely.
Yeah,
that's great. Way
and
to
he
go,
comes
Star
back
Trek.
a few times too.
Pasalk does?
Yeah, he comes back in season 3 as well.
But okay, so this is followed by Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Aforementioned.
It's the episode that got me to fall in love with Lon Noonien Singh as a character.
I've tried to influence these events, to delay them or stop them. I mean, whole temporal wars have been fought over them. And it's almost as if time itself is pushing back and events reinsert themselves, and all of this was supposed to happen back in 1992, and I've been trapped here for 30 years!
Now, in addition to that, my first note here, you can see my eyes really on the important stuff, but I've written down Star Trek athleisure wear, because this is a long and glorious tradition where, in Charlie X, we have like red tights and long black dress socks. And there's the Star Trek The Next Generation episode where I think Troy and Dr. Crusher, it's like they're wearing a wrestling singlet over every limb, like a separate. And then I guess it's a little disappointing because in this show, it's just kind of like Lululemon.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell.
Standard
It's hard to tell it apart from the
black
uniforms.
Yeah. With a Starfleet Delta on it.
Yeah. I mean, always. I mean, even Kirk's red tights had the Delta, I think, on one hip.
Oh, I'm sure.
Just to make it look more official.
Yeah.
As if the executive socks he was wearing make it look official. But yeah, tell me about your love of La'an.
Yes, so I remember us discussing it when the first season came out of like, we have a character with a tragic backstory who has a legacy name and seems to just like have the angry reaction to everything. And I was not being set up from go to enjoy that character. I was like, she's there. She's the security officer. Everybody's going to tell her no anyway.
She's grinding her teeth a lot. She just feels very upset all the time.
Yeah, and very coiled. And so over the course of season 1, appreciated generally like moments that she's rolling with the punches, and then comes back in this season, has this moment of a little bit of release with dealing with the heritage, at least of her name, in the courtroom episode, and then we throw her into this time travel situation where she has to solve a problem with Alt Kirk.
Yeah, Alt Kirk.
And just over the course of the episode, like, they let you play with that puppy.
Yeah.
Before they take it away.
Yeah.
And this is another appearance of Captain Kirk, but not the real quote unquote Captain Kirk, because the first one is like another alternate future version of him.
My head is spinning.
Yeah. But pairing these two people together, it's that fish out of water thing, but understanding that they're both resourceful people, and she gets to open up around this guy because of the alternate history he grew up with, has no preconceptions about her name or genetic engineering or any of that stuff. So he doesn't have the problem that a lot of people do when they get introduced to her. And they go on this great wonky time travel adventure, and we find out, of course, that the Romulans have been screwing around with Earth's history for decades, if not centuries. And then she has to come face to face with baby Hitler and decide what she's going to do about it.
It is interesting because he is, I think I have a note about this too. He's in a school that is subterranean in Toronto in 2022.
Yeah.
And the school is named after him.
It's
like the Khan Institute or something.
Or the
right?
Noonien Singh.
The Noonien
something,
Singh, yeah. And it is designed to, it's like a gift. It's basically, what is this?
Oh,
name?
Professor
Who runs
X's.
Exactly, yeah, Professor. I was like, Charlie X, Professor X.
Yeah,
Who's this guy? So it's designed to maximize their potential. It's not like a maximum security, keep the genetically modified children.
I mean, there's a little
separate
bit
from
of
society.
that. There's a little, because like there's a very black site thing going on where they have to like trace where certain things are, and like clearly there's some the thing that branches off La'an's future from alternate Kirk's future is essentially the bombing of this particular building, which would kill Khan and all of the genetically engineered augments. So if that doesn't happen, the eugenics wars doesn't happen, and the Star Trek future that we know of doesn't happen. And so they end up having that other future that Kirk talks about that he grew up in, where like Earth is essentially just a wasteland, and everybody lives on ships and is at war with everybody else, and whatever.
I'm worried that when we gather for the 60th anniversary of Star Trek, you and I will be talking about how well that aspect of this episode prepared us for our current moment. As we bob on our little ships.
Yep.
Speaking into some sort of wax cylinder. Probably just two cans with a string between them.
Yeah. Well, we won't be able to use Starlink, so.
Well, good. Oh my God.
Yeah. It lets you spend a lot of time with her character, and I grew to like her over the course of the episode and enjoy her back and forth with Kirk. And then the two or three major moments of Kirk gets killed because he's an alternate future version, so we can kill him. She has this choice of killing baby space Hitler and changing the future, or letting him go and taking the baggage that still comes with her name and the reputation that name implies, but allowing the history and the future that she lives in to exist.
Yeah.
And having a weird amount of grace for this little kid who's essentially going to be a mass murderer eventually.
Yeah. That performance, it's such a wild yarn, and like the truthfulness of that moment after all of the Gary 7 Return to Tomorrow, All Our Yesterdays, Department of Temporal Investigations, time travel caper stuff, like she made it real. It just is the most amazing thing I've ever seen in a long time.
The end of the episode, and granted, I was in a particularly tender moment in the summer of 23, but the moment where she contacts everything's fine. She's back on the ship, and then she just like needs to talk to this guy to see that he's alive, and has this conversation that's kind of keeping together, and she shuts the phone and it starts sobbing, and I felt that in my soul.
I couldn't believe it. What else has she done lately? Because it's masterful.
I don't know, but like
she's one of the greats.
Yeah, and she over the course of season 3 too as well. Like I've just been like, okay, no, yeah, she's a great. I don't want anything bad to happen to her. Like the general trope usually is like when you do prequel shows like this, or where where it's going to end, that anybody who isn't in the end state gets killed off at some point because the writers feel that that's more impactful than letting them go off and live some other life that they have other adventures with. Yeah. And I really hope they don't do that with a lot of these characters.
Yeah. Are there, as you make your way through season 3, which I haven't seen, are there little glimmers that maybe that would be the approach they take?
Potentially, but only because they're intertwining the new characters with legacy characters that we know, at least if they're going to adhere to continuity, won't be with those people when that show rolls around.
Yeah.
So that's
true, I guess.
So it's that situation, but like, I mean, the galaxy's a big place. They can go off to some other ship and live their life. Like, not everybody who isn't a main character needs to die to establish, severity of situation or anything like that. We used to just kill off unnamed characters in Star Trek.
That's right. Those poor, and then they'd show up in another episode, and you're like, "Oh, all right."
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's
Thanks
Gary. He's here every other
Yeah.
week. He's the bit player. We're putting him in a red shirt.
I love the idea of Kirk romantically involved with the descendant of his greatest enemy.
Right?
That's super cool and very understated, which is beautiful. I love that he has 3 separate whiskeys in his ready room.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
even in the bar in his quarters. It's in the ready room.
Pretty firmly established this version of Jim Kirk in Strange New Worlds as an alcoholic.
Yeah, he's so excited about the bar later in the season,
Yeah.
as I recall. Yeah.
There's a trope in season 3. He is the person who introduces Scotty to Scotch.
Why do you think they're doing that? Why?
I don't know.
Because Scott, maybe it's like it's deflected from Scotty, because Scotty he was high functioning, but Scotty was definitely enamored of the Saurian brandy horn or whatever. Actually, no, he liked Scotch.
Yeah, he's a Scotch guy.
Yeah, that's right.
I do, and I appreciate that they are still including the social element of the crew members of the ship, of like they have their little bar to hang out at, and Captain Pike's always cooking dinner in his quarters, and I like the idea of like ship as home, you know?
It sure looks like it too. It looks like a mountain lodge in 1961.
Yeah. He's got the fireplace. I can't remember what it's called, but that specific like mid-century modern style fireplace that used to be in every ski lodge everywhere.
That's right. It looks like 2 separate Arne Jacobsen tops. But yeah, and also speaking of, so it was amazing that Kirk was in a romance with his enemy's descendant, but also Sarah, where am I getting this? It's in my notes.
The Romulan woman?
Is that the name? Yeah, I think so.
I think that's the Romulan woman.
It means will be, as we know from the famous Hitchcock movie.
Yeah, I like the fact that it decouples the quote-unquote past events of Star Trek's lore from specific dates.
Yeah.
And gives us an excuse to be like, yeah, it happens at some point, whatever, don't worry about it too much. Like 1996 is not a thing anymore.
Yeah, that's true. It does get shunted forward.
Well, and so she has a little speech at that end point where she was like, we have this computer that's telling us who we have to kill and when in order to try to make our future happen, but every time it's like it keeps trying to adjust itself, and all this was supposed to happen back in the 90s. And so there's this idea that because the Romulans keep screwing with the timeline, that the timeline keeps kind of trying to readjust itself and just changing the dates that stuff happens, but it still happens.
How do we eventually reach time détente with the Romulans? Because this really feels like a can of worms.
The 29th century. I
Oh,
can't
wow.
believe
So-
I know the answer to this fucking
I'm first of all fantastic, but that is
So,
a good long while to
we
put up with this stuff.
We learn in Star Trek Enterprise that there is a temporal Cold War.
Oh God! Well, of
This
course
is where
there'd
the
be a
Enterprise
temporal
J
wall. That
comes
makes
in.
sense. Yeah. Okay.
And the Enterprise and everybody's fighting over all sorts of time periods to keep certain events in place and blah blah. But eventually there are temporal accords that occur sometime, I think, in the 29th century at the end of this war, this Cold War.
Okay.
Where everybody agrees to stop screwing around with the timeline because
was
it's
gonna say,
causing more problems than it solves.
I'm giggling about this, but this is the only way to confront this problem. Yeah, in your story universe.
Yes.
If you can just slingshot around the sun.
Yeah.
Whenever you care to.
So by the
sort of
time
thing
that
you're gonna run
Discovery
into.
rolls around, they get to the 32nd century or something like that, and they're like, well, let's just go back in time. They're like, we're not allowed to go back in time. We can't do that anymore.
So from there we go. My notes do confirm we did go to Rigel 7.
Moon over Rigel 7 and among the Lotus Eaters.
You are serious. You want to save her.
Yes. Yes, we have to try.
Then we do it now. Before the next forgetting starts and we lose our convictions.
Suddenly you're okay with this?
You are guided by your emotions. They are your truth. I find them convincing. The totem teaches that we live in each moment, embrace them. If this is your moment, then I will help.
Among the Lotus Eaters. They're doing a really good job, too, of what is the name of this particular moment, especially in literary science fiction in the 60s. It's like the new high golden something or other.
Oh, I don't know.
Revealing my tremendous ignorance, but it's a movement where you got to have titles like this all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I do appreciate it.
For the world is hollow and I have touched the sky.
That is by a country mile, probably the most wonderfully egregious of all of them.
Discovery did a fair amount of foray into those ones. There's like Context is for King, but then there's like the butcher's knife cares not for the lamb's cry or something is one of the episode titles. Is like, okay, let's reel it back a bit.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, so, among the Lotus Eaters. So we learn in the pilot, the original first pilot of the original series, Pike is done with being a captain because of this terrible thing that happened when they went on a mission to Rigel 7.
Yes, I remember the guy.
His yeoman died.
Teeth. Yeah, that's right. A guy with a battle axe and a very shaggy wig. And he was wearing,
And so years later now, we're going back to Rigel 7 because they were supposed to be a pre-contact civilization, but satellite imagery has caught them drawing a Starfleet Delta in the ground.
Okay, so we have a cargo cult prime directive violation situation.
So they got to go back and fix their mess, but this time they go in dressed as whatever, but when we start to learn that the moon over Rigel 7 has been partially responsible for why Rigel 7 is the way it is. The radiation starts making you lose your... there's two different types of memories. There's operative memory.
For the record, Matt has forgotten.
Yeah.
Memory lapse is induced by the moon over Rigel 7.
Yes, there's operative memory, and then there's the like story,
procedural or kinesthetic. Oh, gotcha. Okay, like narrative
of like So the idea of like you can know. Then they explain in the episode where Chapel's talking to me is like I know how to set a bone because I've done it 700 times, but there's. If I'm here long enough, I'll still be able to set a bone. I will not be able to tell you why I know that.
Yeah. Again,
and so,
not John Wick, but the other guy. Another Ludlumly kind of. Again,
Memento
we must
Man.
be on Rigel 7 right now because I can't remember anything. But sorry, I have diverted.
Yeah, so they go back and we find out that the yeoman that Pike thought he lost was not lost and essentially became king of the little fief on Rigel 7 because the weirdo barbarian helmets that those guys wore in that episode of The Cage has a metal that protects you from the radiation.
So now we're getting... I feel like this is conspiracy thinking once more. We have literal validated tinfoil hats in a Star Trek.
And so they go down to the planet. They all start suffering from it. And then when they find the yeoman, he's essentially just out for revenge because he feels like he was left and abandoned, and punishes Pike, La'an, and M'Benga by sending them out to essentially work in the fields where the unprotected people live and have no memory of their lives or anything. All they are is essentially forced labor. And there's this weird culture that's come up among those people of having to essentially memento themselves, like tattoo names and what they do and stuff on their bodies, or have totems in their homes of like who they are and what they're doing and how, like, all that sort of stuff to keep the history of their lives together.
That's very moving, and it also partakes of another original series episode, which, because of the memory Rigel 7 problems, I can't remember the name of, but it's where we get Cloud City, kinda. There's a gas where the
isn't
workers
it the Cloud Minders?
It's the Cloud Minders.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We're getting it back. Also, for the record, Matt has put a strange-looking helmet on as we podcast, and now he seems to be fine again. But yeah, it's the same. It's the same underclass, overclass. There's a gas that makes you dumb if you're working in the mines, but if you're up on the floating castle, you're totally okay.
Yes, and so over the course of the episode, Pike is in a relationship with Captain Battelle. We've learned from the last season. She gifted him before he left this essentially a mariner's token or something from another planet. That's this thing that he kept with him. And he's lost his memory, but he knows based off of just sense and feeling that someone important to him gave him that and that he needs to get back to that person.
Again, this is so moving, and for some reason I am hearing in my mind's ear Captain Picard's tootlings on his flute, even though that's totally irrelevant to this episode.
And they're joined by, there's a character actor who you would recognize if you saw him. Reed Birney.
Very nice pull.
Well, I'm looking this up.
It's a very bad pull.
Yeah, very bad pull. You would recognize him if you saw him because he's just in a lot of stuff. But he's a dude who's been there forever, and he's sort of been institutionalized of like, no, this is for the best. Like, this is structured the way it is because we don't want to remember certain things. And he shows like he's tattooed all of his stuff, but he marked out something. He's like, I know this is a painful thing, but I don't know what it is anymore, and I've been spared that because I don't remember what it is anymore.
I'm getting chills, and I already saw this.
And so there's this whole there's the tension of that, and there's the La'an is injured trying to help them escape, and they have to. Mbenga knows in his core he's a doctor, but needs to get their memories back essentially to help.
Yeah.
And we learn that it's not the planet that's causing the problem, but it's the moon, because at the same time, everybody on the Enterprise is forgetting their shit. Because they're too close to the moon.
The famous line, I fly the ship.
Yes, which is I am Erica Ortega's I fly the ship. Yeah. And she helps save the crew from everything there because she flies the ship.
Yeah. Imagine if your airline pilot started doing that shortly before takeoff. Like, I don't know, maybe sit this one out.
I'm Captain Jack and I fly the ship.
That's right. It's another Christina Chong tour de force. You bring up her mortal wound in battle, and her choice is to look mostly embarrassed about it. Which feels absolutely real for that character. Like, oh boy.
It is an inconvenience.
Amazing.
And with the Reed Birney character is telling them, he's like, well, she's gonna die, like there's nothing we can do, we should just help her, live out her final moments in peace. And her immediate response is, I'm not ready to live out my final moments, so can we figure out how to fix this problem? Which to me is still very Star Trek of like, okay, can we like dispense with the catastrophizing and at least try to fix the problem, please?
I love it. You get a brief grace period in Star Trek where the characters can reflect your own nerdy neuroses, and then that goes away. Yeah. So I do miss, Captain Kirk getting the vapors about decisions, but I guess they're all an inspiration.
Yeah, but so they finally get in the building, they start to get their memories back, and before he's got his memories back, he's rip shit and beating the hell out of his former yeoman because he doesn't know who the guy is. He just knows that this guy is keeping him from getting his memories back, but then comes to and then realizes what's going on and is like, I'm not going to kill you, and you made some bad decisions, but we're taking you home now.
This is glorious. This is one of the greats. I had forgotten appropriately most of the stuff that happened in this episode. It's all terrific. And the
little button at the end is like, obvious the characters are learning. It's like, we all have memories that are painful, that are depressing, whatever, but it's more important to keep them as part of who we are and keep the happy memories of, even if some of those memories cause pain, keep those with us than losing it all. And the button on that is the Reed Birney character decides to enter the building that's protected by ore and gets his memories back. So there's this moment where he's like, no, I was wrong. I would rather remember the people that I loved and lost. Everybody likes to crack the joke about Strange New Worlds. It's like, we'd like to go to Strange New Worlds on this Strange New Worlds series that you guys have, and maybe not just like planets that we've seen before. But they got to tell a good story while they did.
I was going to say, look, they were strange at the time, Matt.
Yeah.
We're just looking back on their discoveries.
Yeah. From what you remembered from it, do you remember enjoying it?
I enjoyed I must have enjoyed it. My notes are, of course, appropriately rapturous, but I have enjoyed this retelling by you because I think you're teasing out some things that maybe got lost in the glow of, for example, the beautiful Unreal Engine reimagining of the famous Albert Whitlock matte painting from The Cage.
Yeah, the volume.
Yeah. They loved it so much they reused it in other episodes.
Oh yeah.
And I don't blame them.
No, I appreciated even when they're not in, like, there's also a lot of good, like, just back and forth between the characters throughout that episode that speak to me that they're very true to the essence of those characters. Like, there's a moment very early on where Spock's explaining why Ortegas has to stay on the ship, because initially she's going to go down, but it's like the two gravitational bodies are causing blah, blah, blah. And then La'an's like, moons. Couldn't you just call them moons? And Spock goes, I could, but that would be jumping to conclusions. And I was like, yes,
that's great.
More of that.
Yeah, that's great. So you're still in the summer where, like, did this stuff land?
Oh, yeah.
For you in terms of what do I, like you're in a moment, you're sometimes it's comforting to go back in time in your mind, and sometimes it is dreadful. So was this episode helpful in your own?
I think that's what one of the that character struck me too, of like the decision to whether or not, like, if you lose all your memories and you can just exist and not necessarily have the pain of anything, but you also don't have any of the joys of the other memories. And I think that's also very much a common theme of Star Trek as well, of your past experiences and everything, good and bad, make up who you are as a person. And obviously you can change who you are in the present moment, but like you shouldn't necessarily feel ashamed of or bad about things that happened in the past just because they're uncomfortable or do cause depression or sadness or whatever, and learning to live with that, because it's also part of just the experience of being human. And then understanding that, yeah, you can focus on like, oh, I hate the fact that I have these sad memories, but also remember that there's a lot of really joyous and happy and fun memories too that come with that, and to have that balance in your psyche.
So again, another hit for Star Trek.
Yeah, I'd say so. I enjoyed it. I when I'm watching a story, like I hate it when characters like either lose memory or get in prison and they stop being who they are and stop like acting counter to the way that I am used to or accustomed to or the way I feel to. And I know that that's the writers manipulating me as an audience member, but I thought that they did that fairly effectively in this episode.
Yeah, so the bad Superman 3 or Indiana Jones after drinking the evil potion.
Yes.
Not your cup of tea.
Yeah, no, bothers the hell out of me.
Whereas people seem to love, Spock with a goatee.
Yeah.
Sure. I guess that's basically Spock without a goatee, so that's okay.
Yeah. But we'll get to that, but we do. Well, the next episode is Human Spock.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, so interesting.
Charades.
Analysis of the stable vortex suggests the Kirkovians may have moved on from their planet to interdimensional space.
Don't forget to clean it up when you're done, Lieutenant.
Okay. Sure. Scans of the moon revealed the remains of several cultural sites.
Mr. Kirk, clean your mess.
Are you serious?
Don't test me, Kirk. I will break you.
I'll clean it up.
So, on the subject of Spock, we now have
charades.
Or charades.
Another pronunciation problem.
That's true. Did they say that a lot in the episode, or was it just
once later on?
And which one did they go with? I don't recall.
I think it's charades, because it's Pike is trying to delay the dinner that occurs late on in the episode, and he's like, we're gonna do a human tradition called charades, and then he has to start trying to explain. It's a madcap funny episode.
Yeah Okay, so we got, again, consulting my notes, we got Roger Corby, Chapel's future fiance.
He gets name checked.
Amazing. But we don't see him. He doesn't appear yet.
He appears in season 3.
He will appear.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
He has not appeared yet, but she is applying to... So Chapel's applying to different medical research things. One of them is the Vulcan Science Academy, and one of the other ones is Roger Corby's dig somewhere. And that's... Her arc is essentially trying to apply to that thing, and then... She gets stuck on this mission where they're trying to learn about a civilization that abandoned a planet, and then they get pulled into a Star Trek butthole, and then and when they get spit back out, Spock is completely human.
Now this, again, I'm a pedant as aforementioned and a nerd.
Yeah.
And I am curious about your views on the understanding this episode has of Vulcan psychology.
Yeah, they make the same problem worse in season 3 with one of the episodes, and a lot of people have notes about that one. This one, I think I set it aside a bit because I did kind of just want to see what if Spock were a human. And some of the montage moments that came with that. But yeah, it shouldn't necessarily change his personality.
And the thing that, again, I guess it's not that nerdy because it's a performance thing. But Leonard Nimoy was saying the thing, I don't know when he was saying this, but I feel like his mantra was what makes the character interesting to him is that he is always feeling these emotions. And as a Vulcan, they are more intense than the emotions you would be going through as a human. Yeah. And he has to learn to contain that. And so becoming a human isn't like, oh my God, like what feelings are weird, you know? And so that it just feels like, again, beautifully written episode, but I feel like it just kind of gives the lie to what has propelled that character for the previous 6 decades. Yeah, I think it's the broader struggle that I think Star Trek has had with Vulcans in general, is that depending on the writer, they don't know how they want to portray Vulcans and how they feel or lack thereof, like whether or not they can lie and like whether or not they actually feel emotions or whatever, all of that stuff. And it gets sort of gumbified depending on what the need of the plot is. Yeah, but sometimes, I mean, that's often, as it is here, very deft, you know, like we can't lie, but sometimes we can exaggerate. Yeah. You know, like that kind of thing. Oh, yeah. And you know, one of my favorite things is the Vulcan sense of humor. Yeah. Of like, that's is like Vulcans do have a sense of humor, and, you know, that's something to remember and recognize, but it's not in the same sense that a regular guy would have a sense of humor. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's a three-dimensional chess kind of sense of humor, which is also funny. This is from a couple episodes back, but the fact that Kirk calls 2D chess idiot chess. Yeah. Fantastic. So yeah. Also, just side note on this episode, a drinking game where you drink every time you successfully memorize something seems counterproductive. Yeah, I would say so. So she's got a very interesting. I love this as a study guide for your various med schools. Yeah, some people have talked about like the reliance of drunk memory. Like you when you're drunk, there are certain things that you only remember when you're drunk. Have you had this experience personally? No. Yeah, me neither. But I guess that makes sense. You're back in that state. Yeah, it got encoded in that state. Yeah, so maybe that's something she's trying. But yeah. It's a good episode for the, like, just more crew chemistry, character stuff. And I enjoy, like, Anson Mount's being funny without being funny is great. And you're right. The character bonding stuff, like Pike saying that he has a hat just like Spock's, is the first hint that these two people are close enough buddies that Spock would mutiny for Captain Pike. Like, you're exactly right. It's beautiful character building stuff. And the lengths to which he goes to try to protect him and go through the whole, the whole charade with T'Pring's parents. Yeah. Which is also the something that's at least happened since late DS9, at least, but in Star Trek Enterprise was just like Vulcans in general are just jerks, which I don't know if necessarily was the intent back in the day. Going from the original series on. I wonder if it radiates from the relationship with McCoy. Yeah. Just because they rub each other the wrong way to propel things, but they should be not jerks at all. Like their whole backstory is that they've overcome war. Yeah. Which again, I don't know if, because they're very logical, it shouldn't matter anymore. In fact, maybe it's like a flex that if you are extremely irritating as a Vulcan, you know, like no matter how irritated I get as a Vulcan, there is no way I'm gonna, you know, come to blows with anybody. So maybe that's it. I don't know. But yeah, so I wasn't like necessarily crazy about that, but I know that one of the through lines of Spock's backstory, at least in recent memory, is like him being ridiculed because he was half human.
And so that being a space racism sticking point with T'Pring's family.
Yeah, that is true. That is, even though it's animated series continuity, it's still a very strong continuity in Star Trek. Young Spock getting, half human, ridiculed, and having an adorable, deadly Sailot.
Oh yeah, the Sailot gets mentioned a couple times. I feel like throughout Strange New Worlds about Spock having a pet Sailot.
I hope we see one because it looks crazy in the
in the animated series.
The animated
Yeah. But yeah, I it's a funny episode. I enjoyed it, and I gave Ethan Peck a little bit of variety, I suppose, to work with.
Yeah, they're all so good.
And it essentially helps establish. It gives them a reason to send T'Pring off to not come back until Pon farr. And then set up the Chapel Spock thing.
Yeah, as I am so far innocent of season 3, I'm curious about where this goes, and I have a feeling it goes somewhere.
Well, it has to go somewhere where they are the way they are in Amok Time.
Yeah. I love it's a very interesting screen kiss. I've written down, I guess this was very striking, but it looks like Chapel's nose does go fully up the nostril of Ethan Peck during the big kiss. So
yeah,
it's very passionate.
Oh yeah. So that it essentially sets up that as a plot thing and a character thing for them, and it's another series of Vulcan rituals. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It wasn't trying to say anything.
Well, there is one,
except a little bit of the prejudice bit.
Yeah, the prejudice thing, and there is one harrowing mirroring of our time in this episode, which I have written down here. Customer service. Quote, friends are not allowed complaints outside of the response period. Unquote. Yep. So yeah, that was as striking as the nostril thing.
I am blue. We were talking with Yellow. Yellow is not available. I am blue.
Incredible. It's the story of our age.
Yeah, the space bureaucracy. I appreciated that too. I like and to send Uhura, Chapel, and Ortegas off on a little mission to go try to fix things was fun.
Well, they have to declare a relationship, right?
And that's the two of them just being like, you just fucking say it.
Yeah, tell the alien you like him.
Yeah.
But that also is an important, those are important rights that may be somewhat in question these days.
Yeah,
and it's important to address.
Yeah. But yeah, I also get it. I don't necessarily love how they characterize Vulcans in modern Trek, and it unfortunately only gets worse.
Do you think, I don't have enough data for this, but is it an anti-intellectual kind of current, do you think? Do you think it's because they're space eggheads?
I don't know.
What is it? How would you characterize the thing that they're...
It's stemming from the belief of the idea of they don't feel anything and they only ever do the logical choice, and because they're not embracing emotions is that it causes problems because you're not taking that into account when you're making decisions. And it gives them an air of superiority where they may or may not have it. So I think that's where that comes from, but also if you go back to the idea of no, they feel emotions, they just have a lot of controls in place so they don't start wars like Romulans do.
Maybe that seems more jagged in modern Trek because the way it operated in the original series was that, at least it seems to me, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy were one psyche. Yep. And so the message was you should be a complete person. And now, since they're maybe not doing the kind of Sukomachia version of it, that's just they're nerds and they think they're better than I am. And, maybe, I don't know if that's because I haven't been watching enough modern Trek to get
there is very much the looking down on humans at the very least of so yeah, that part Infinite, I'm not crazy about.
I know code, they shouldn't look down on anybody. Everyone's welcome is the whole point of Spock.
Yeah.
He made a whole brooch about it.
Yeah.
And then Gene sold it at conventions.
Oh yeah. Apparently Leonard
important.
was very not pleased about that.
I can imagine he was. Because he made it up. Right? Didn't Leonard have some hand in creating the idea of it?
No, well, Leonard came up with the idea, or it's purported that he's the person who kind of came up with the idea behind it. But it originally started with the idea of like Gene needed to sell something.
Yep.
And needed to put
Lincoln
something on
Enterprises,
screen
baby.
to sell.
Yeah.
And so he was like, here's the thing, it's part of Vulcan history. And Leonard was like, what? It's the fun Vulcan episode, or it's the fun comedy episode that I can show to Katie.
Yeah. Does she like it? Did it have
I show her those
charm
episodes
to
and
her?
she enjoys them.
Okay, it does work for her. It's not
Yeah.
like you're trying to hide the vegetables under the ice cream or whatever. Okay.
She enjoyed it. Yeah. Those are the episodes. The funnier episodes are usually the ones that I can show Katie because she appreciates that. She doesn't. In the next episode, there's a little monologue that even I am not crazy about that she could not stand.
Okay, my eyes are flitting over my old notes here. This
Yes.
is
Lost.
6,
Yes.
Lost in Translation.
Yes.
James Kirk.
Uhura, you're Sam's brother.
Oh, you're friends with Sam.
Look, I really don't want to be hit on right now.
Ah, you're friends with Sam.
The Enterprise has been sent to a nebula to harvest deuterium.
Ooh.
And then we find out that there's something in the deuterium.
Wait, harvest deuterium? Again, they can do miraculous things, or they can take pains
Or they
to
have
do
to have
the
a
thing
space
we
refinery.
can do.
Yeah.
Like what? Why? It's hydrogen.
I know.
You have a transporter beam.
Yep. So there's a giant Federation deuterium station that's essentially supposed to be like the gas station for exploration beyond this point. And Pike, they've been having issues for months. They send Pike, temporarily promote him to fleet captain because the Farragut is also in town. So Kirk shows up.
In town.
And so this is the stupid bending over backwards that the writers do so that the statement that Kirk says in the menagerie is correct. That
Which statement?
I met him. The Commodore asks
Pike.
if he's met Pike, and he says, "Oh, I met him when he was first promoted to fleet captain."
Oh my!
So
for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
for
well,
that
and
one
so
episode, we could get
so
this to
literally, Kirk walks in and says, "Oh, congratulations on the promotion, Fleet Captain Pike," and Pike goes, "It's only temporary," and then they move on with the episode.
You know, I'm glad they're being. I've stated my credentials as a dorky pedant, so they're doing the Lord's work here, so I can't complain.
But
also, Spock at one point says collectors, as I recall.
Oh, of course, he has to. Yes, collectors.
It's all real by the book.
Yeah.
So okay, so we've met Pike.
Pike has met Kirk. This is finally the first time we actually see actual Kirk. The other two versions that we saw were alternate histories.
Okay.
So he's Lieutenant Kirk on the Farragut. He's coming to see his brother Sam, who is conveniently not there until later in the episode. They have drinks, and then they have a sibling rivalry because their dad, who was a captain, I think, he measures Jim's advancement through the ranks as more successful than Sam being a really good xenobiologist.
Guys, the priorities.
Right?
This is the 23rd century.
Right? It also allows Kirk to meet Uhura for the first time and go on a little adventure. And so Uhura is getting these hallucinations and headaches at the same time that they're working on this thing and trying to solve the problem. And we learn there are nebula aliens who, when they are collecting the deuterium, are being ripped apart. And so they're trying to communicate that to several people, and because of the issues in what's getting lost in translation, it's actually damaging those people's brains. So there's one dude they run into who
season.
What's up?
A lot of brain damage in this season.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
So they run into one crew member who's been on the gas station for months and has gone through what Uhura is in the early stages of, and eventually loses the ability to speak and tries to sabotage everything and eventually blows himself out in a cell. And we get our This is the episode that has, I think, 2 instances of people getting sucked out into space.
They hit it twice. Does that mean they were exempted from
having to do it for the rest
3D?
of the? I think so. Yeah. But yeah, so they learn. We learn that there's something in nature that is a consciousness that are that are other life forms, and we should respect that. And so they destroy the refinery to save the Nebula aliens.
It's like the space jellyfish who are very much in love in the pilot of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yes, and gratitude.
Pain. But they're not. It's also a gas creature, which is a Star Trek tradition.
Yeah, well, because it saves on a lot on makeup. But and it gets you get her and Kirk to have some great moments together. You get to see what I thought was a very well but also underplayed moment of Spock being introduced to Kirk, where they're it's Uhura and Kirk and James are at the bar, and Sam's just blown off because he got pissed off about something, and Sam is in Spock's department. So there's just a moment at the end where they're at the bar of this episode where Sam leaves and Jim is like,
yeah, it's just Sam being Sam. Sometimes he can be
frustrating.
James, meet our Chief Science Officer, Mr. Spock. Spock, meet James Kirk, First Officer of the Farragut.
Why don't you join us?
And they don't turn into a big thing. It's just, this is the first moment that these two guys who are going to be stuck with each other for the rest of their lives meet.
Yeah. There's no...
And they meet in a way that people meet.
Yeah. It's, bravo. There's no, you'll be the death of me, or whatever
Oh,
it was
yeah.
when Obi-Wan Kenobi...
I hated when you say that, Master.
That's right. Again, that's fine. That was early on in the tradition of, I don't mean to... It's cool when it's cool. But yeah, it is fun that it was a...
Yeah. But it was, the one moment I wasn't crazy about is towards the end, it's Uhura. The aliens are manifesting what they're feeling to her. So she is seeing dead relatives. She's seeing the old A&R engineer, Hemmer, like in a zombified form. So she's seeing all these terrible things. And she opens up to Kirk about how she's of this relationship she has with thinking about her family because they died tragically. And
what's the purport? Like, how many crew members? Is there anyone on the Enterprise crew who's not had? Yeah, or just some other childhood.
Kirk
it's
comes
utopia
from
after all.
Kirk comes from two parents who are still alive. Pike had a sordid relationship with his father. Spock doesn't speak to his dad. We don't know very much about Ortegas's parents. We meet her brother later in season 3. And they have just a sort of a regular sibling relationship.
Yeah, these sound unpleasant, but well within norms,
the norms, yeah.
Even for Utopia.
But yeah, there's always 2 or 3 characters who is again, Tasha Yar on the planet with the rape gangs.
The rape gangs, a shuttlecraft ran over my foot once in childhood. A Danubian slime devil once ate my aunt. It's a lot of trauma. But you're right. It's in perspective here. It's not.
And it's shorthand to give a character depth. And it's to a degree, I get it. But so she confesses this to Kirk, and Kirk is he does this whole speech about
our job puts us up against death more than is fair. And we might not like it, but we do have to face it. And right now, death is winning. It claimed your family. It claimed your friend. It convinced you to forget them because it's less painful than holding on to their memories. Now you can let death win, or you can fight back. Hold on to them.
This isn't doing anything for me. And I understand that we have to establish that this man does not believe in a no-win scenario and believes he can cheat death, especially at this age.
Yeah.
It's not also working.
Death is when I can't think of a time when death has really been on the back foot.
Also true.
Yeah, so I don't know.
It feels clunky and very much about we have to say this thing about Kirk now. And I'm do we?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, does it pay off in the next?
Not in the episode, because it's just part of the broader like aura about Kirk.
Yeah. It's really I'm really fascinated by the way they're like positioning him in a way.
Yeah.
The threads that they've like shied away from, but then they come back, and you know, like it's I would be really curious about an original series with him in the chair.
And here's over the course of the episodes that we've gotten up to, and even over the course of the episodes that I've seen, like Paul Wesley's killing it as Kirk. I think he's doing a good job of portraying this character at this point in his life and career.
Yeah.
So like solid performances so far, and
they're all amazing.
And he does a good job of like you understand like when you get to the original series of like, okay, these people are his crew because these are the people that he's been able to sort of establish relationships with. So you feel that a little bit better when you get to that point of like, okay, yeah, of course these are the guys that are going to be on the ship in 6 years. And it does, and for Uhura, she has a little bit of a good like trying to, again, it's kind of similar themes of the memory stuff and Among the Lotus Eaters of like part of being human is taking the bad with the good. Like the sweet is never as sweet without the sour. And so her being able to come to terms with that so that she can also remember her family fondly, and save the Nebula aliens. But that's just the plot device to get the character shit out of the way.
It does sound painful. This is, of all the gas creatures in Star Trek, this is the most I have felt for one, because that sounds awful.
Oh yeah.
Shredded and refined, and oof.
Yeah, not a fan. No.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, they do a good job, and it establishes a little. You get some more moments with Pelia, and Rebecca Remain is number one, snipping at each other. And yeah, it was another good episode where like they were focusing on characters, but using a Star Trek trope to. Because I was watching this episode when I was rewatching it with Katie a couple days back.
Oh yeah,
she came
what did
in.
She hate about this? Yeah,
she came in about halfway through, and like Uhura is having the hallucination or whatever, and she's like, "Oh, we got to go to sickbay," and Katie's like, "What's happening to her?" And I was like, "She's in an episode of Star Trek, and she doesn't know it yet." But no, she hated the monologue about death. She was like, "Who?" She literally said, "Who wrote this?"
Oh no, I don't remember it sticking out that much.
Yeah, it is clunky. I will say that. But let me see if I can get the actual.
Yeah, bring that up. Let's see what I also see, as far as the hallucinations go, I have written down, Uhura keeps hearing the sound of the plumbing in my old New York City apartment.
That's the initial instance that something is, like that's the trigger for the audience that something's going to happen, that she's going to start seeing things.
Something was going to happen in my New York City apartment too, so I understand how that,
It is definitely an episode of Star Trek. Like it is, weird thing happens to person. Initially, nobody believes them. Eventually, they start to try to unpack and solve the puzzle, and learn that something is different than they thought it was when the episode began.
I have a note here about, I've written down a line of Kirk's, and I wonder how it affects the main meaning of Star Trek for you as you described it.
Yeah.
He says, "Why should I apologize for being extremely competent?" And I wondered if bragging openly about how competent you are affects your enjoyment of the super competence of the crew of the Enterprise.
That's, well, and he says that when he's in an argument with his brother, and that's one of the things that sets him off. And I think that's part of we have retconned for Kirk that he has always had bravado and a little, and is conceited, and that's that. Yeah. And I think some of the future episodes will sand that off a bit.
The one you're talking about where it's going to appeal to me because he's like, no.
Yeah, because he starts with bravado and then gets essentially smacked around in the face by circumstance, and then has this moment of like, I don't know what to do.
That's great. So that actually also helps link him to the Kirk in the Abrams verse,
Yeah.
where he's kind of like the wild one, or
Oh, yeah.
he's riding around on his hover bike and wearing his black leather jacket.
Oh, hell yeah. While they're building the Enterprise in Iowa for some reason.
Sorry, we get to 7
Okay,
now.
not to be ungrateful, but if you had just waited like one more second, we wouldn't be stuck
Do
here.
you know how worried I was? You disappeared in a vortex while I was in charge. For all I knew, you were dead or stuck in a dystopian San Francisco in the middle of a riot.
Have you noticed that the references are weirdly specific?
Indeed.
I'm sorry, hold up. Look, I'm gonna keep this like 100% profesh, but I was thoroughly unprepared for how hot young Spock was going to be.
Okay,
I'm very curious what you thought of this episode from your notes.
Review what I. Oh yeah, my first note is lower deck space bug on the Enterprise in opening credits, so that does ring a bell.
So this is
and
the
cosmic
famous
koala.
crossover.
Yeah.
And as someone who I don't think you've seen very much of Lower Decks, right?
I have not, but my first notes after the space bug, Boimler infectious delight being aboard the Enterprise.
Yes.
And then I wrote Nathan Lane comedy maestro vibes. And semicolon, speaking of elevated register, semicolon, Teb or Teeb from Galaxy Quest
Teb.
5.
Yeah, I am Teb.
Yeah. And I recently saw, again, wrong show, but I saw the Return of the Jedi live reading from the Star Wars Minute and George Lucas Talkish show. George Lucas Talkish show. Back to Latin.
Lucas Talkish.
Ad aspera per what now? And Jack Quaid played Han Solo. And everyone was amazing in that thing, but I just want to say that kid's going somewhere.
Oh yeah.
He was so good in that. He's so good in this. And yeah. So yeah, I think I just from the beginning, he was Boimler's reacting kind of the way I probably would if I found myself in those very shiny hallways.
Oh yeah. I was very curious to see what your reaction would be not having seen any of the cartoon.
Oh yeah, this is my first exposure really. Yeah.
Yeah. Like whether it worked for you or not.
I think it was fine. I think Jack Quaid and Tawny Newsome, who is one of my heroes, like they just make it work. Like it's it's incredible. I had no trouble. What was your fear, or what did you suspect? I would say.
Not specifically to you, but I was very curious how someone who had not seen Lower Decks at all would react to including these characters in a live action TV under the auspices of a more dramatic presentation.
Yeah, I don't remember finding it disorienting, again, because the two of them are so good. But let's see. Jonathan Frakes. I'm sure Boimler said Riker while mounting saddle as surprise for Jonathan.
This is directed by Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. I had this feeling that maybe he did that without it being in the script. He just said Riker. Take one.
From what I've heard, is he ad-libbed that, and Riker's like,
it must be. I was like, it's got to be what that was. Let's see. I also have Babs Olusemokan is hilarious. Explode, you said?
Uh-huh.
Later, just grunting, I don't know. Oh, try triticale grant. Again, I'm details obsessed here.
Oh, yeah.
Advises the fake to make it fun.
Yeah, try triticale.
Back to speech. This era is weird. Have you noticed how slowly and quietly everybody talks? Non-UW middle school gym. Oh, yeah, and then another lapse of utopia that middle school gym class still exists.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, in my briefer notes there, I don't see anything about having been taken out of it by the crossover nature of the show. But let me look into my deeper notes. That's Lost in Translation. Those old scientists. Oh yeah, first sounds like the 25th anniversary game, like one of the titles. It's those old scientists. Lower Decks. I also think it not saves it, but like I think it smoothed the transition to begin as a Lower Decks episode.
Yeah,
like start in animation land rather than cutting to that from live action Star Trek.
Yeah.
Also, I wonder if part of the reason I wasn't taken out of it was that because of my admiration of Tawny Newsome and her comedy work, like this was the way was prepared for me, because through social media and things, I saw probably an Instagram picture of her and Jack on the set or something, and was starting to gear up for it. Yeah, it's that thing about Boimler saying Riker. It sounds as though they had to mute his dialogue track right after, dubbed to the laugh out. You know, like
because everybody just started. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoy this one, mostly because it just put two of my favorite shows of the modern era together, and I thought did it in an effective way.
Yeah, did you? And you must have known. You probably saw this one coming too, right? You probably had a No, I thought it was great, and just like
everything, all being, the meeting your heroes trope and all of that, and the time travel stuff is this is the sort of stuff where I'm totally. It's like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah. Also, like visually, I think the Unreal Engine and video wall approach to the look of the show also smooths the transition from animation to live action, and they do spend some time on a planet that looks like one of the old paperback covers again, which helps a lot. But yeah, I was a big fan of this one.
It's a planet with a portal.
When I watched it 3 years ago.
But yeah, but this is the thing of like trying to figure out your tone, because there are 2 episodes that couch the next one that feel very weird when that middle episode happens.
Yeah.
But generally, if you go into it with the understanding of like these are generally supposed to be episodic, it's thoroughly enjoyable. And I like them. They talk about Pike's surprise birthday party, and this idea of they don't explicitly state it because they can't. Of like Pike lets on that he knows what his future is, and they essentially let on they also obviously know what his future is, but then have an abstract discussion about how to spend time.
Is this very early on in the show, or
no?
10 years is that long, or is it? This is later on.
They set that one up early on, and then in this episode they talk about he's exasperated with the both of them because they have, of course, caused all sorts of problems for the crew. But he talks about like, I hear that you've been trying to organize a surprise party. Please stop that. And he talks about the reason why is because this birthday will make him a year older than his dad was when his dad died, and he did not have a great relationship with his dad. Again, somebody else has daddy issues.
Everybody. I was having that conversation yesterday with a friend of mine about like carrying that number around with you.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's true. It's a lot of family stuff, though. I feel like Star Trek. I mean, I guess they were the original series, like you were talking about the Sarek stuff and not talking to his dad, and like
Kirk was on the planet with that genocide when he was a kid. We learned
Where does that get established?
Kodos the Executioner in Conscience of the King.
He was on the planet.
Yeah, he was one of the ones.
Turn in my Delta Shield. I'm forgetting all these things.
Him and Riley were on that planet.
These folks have had busy lives.
Yeah. Uhura, of course, lost her whole family in a shuttlecraft accident.
That's a newer thing, though.
That's a newer thing.
This season, this series?
Because I don't think anybody ever talks about her family before this point. Scotty, we don't learn very much about, except the fact that he loses his nephew in a terrible way.
We were there with him for that. Stayed at his post.
Yeah.
All the other trainees.
When the trainees are on. McCoy is divorced and may or may not have a daughter.
That's right. She was going to be in, I guess, the 4th season or something. Joanna, I think was her name.
Yeah.
Very creepily, I think Kirk was going to put the moves on her.
Probably.
Or something. I could be talking out of turn.
Who else? Spock has his problems. But to sort of address, like, again, with another character, like, if you knew that you only had so many birthdays left, would you rather spend them alone in a cabin fishing or with the people who wish that they had more days with you? And so I thought that was effectively conveyed.
Is that a tension, as a generally kind of avoidant, reclusive person, is that part of Pike's makeup in this show, that he wants to be in a cabin fishing?
The specific, when he knows his future, the beeping chair, he goes on leave from Starfleet. When we first see him in the first episode of the first season, he's like kind of done because he knows where he's going to end.
And he's in the future because there's a windmill.
Yeah. And he over the course of season 1, he comes to terms with that and is kind of okay with that. The fishing lodge thing is because he talks about, because he's thinking about his dad, he wants to spend his birthday doing something that he would have done with his dad, which is going ice fishing or something. And so that was that was how he was planning on spending his birthday.
But by himself.
Because that's what men do.
I'm not avoiding in any kind
They
of
sit alone,
way.
they drink, and then they kill themselves. That's what men do.
Oh, I didn't know what Act 3 was there.
Yeah.
I better change my ways.
That's but yeah, no. So yeah, men's health is a whole other ball of wax that we don't have time to deal with.
We can hit it. You know what? I think in honor of the 59 years of Star Trek, we should do a 59-year long conversation. I don't think you should release it at full length, but I think we should probably just honor it that way.
Yeah. But yeah, ultimately, I think that there was enough heart to the story, and they took the things that needed to be taken seriously and poked fun at the things that are perfectly fine poking fun at. There's one moment where Mariner's talking, and this has to be ad-libbed, of she's got her hands down on the glass table and starts saying something and then realizes she should stop and then pulls her hands back, but it makes that streak noise.
Yeah.
And then for the rest of the scene, when she's not actively talking, she's like at the desk, like playing with it to try to figure out what was making the streak noise. So like just little moments like that I love. It makes the characters feel like they actually are living people.
It's the perfect, like, because the only reason it would make that noise is because everything is so shiny in the 23rd century. So that is once again flaws in Utopia.
Yeah.
Done in a visceral, Foley kind of way.
Yeah. And it, again, Jonathan Frakes, I love nearly every episode that he directs, and I can usually clock when he's directed an episode of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Usually it's because you're getting a little bit more oomph out of the actors than you might otherwise with some of the other journeymen.
More oomph, but yeah, that's true. Everybody kind of raises their game. It's the Leonard Nimoy effect too in the movies where he directed first. But yeah, I also think Jonathan Frakes has an amazing sense of humor, but also isn't standing outside Star Trek and making fun of it. He is a product of it too.
Oh yeah.
And so there's a reverence there, but he's very easygoing about it, and so it works really well. We have teased, is 2 away now?
No, this is
Under the Cloak of War.
Whiplash episode is the one we are about to discuss, which is Under the Cloak of War.
You're right, Chris. We've known each other for a very long time. See eye to eye on most things. But you haven't lived my life. You have the privilege of believing in what's best in people. Me, I happen to know there's some things in this world that don't deserve forgiveness.
If you went from those old scientists to the musical episode, Subspace Rhapsody, you'd be kind of like tonally okay. Yeah. But they put this thing in between them.
Okay, now again, I did not
this is
tattoo
the
this one anywhere
Ambassador
on myself.
assassination episode.
Okay, Under the Cloak of War. All right.
This is the one where what? Oh God, what did you write?
My first note is just, again, I don't know what is going on with me, but from my notebook, quote, so many shots in the season feature the ceiling, which is beautiful. Unquote. Wow. This is quite an insight. Okay, so let's see if there's anything more substantive. But yeah, go ahead. So take us through this episode.
The Enterprise, it's another classic episode of Star Trek premise where it's the Enterprise has to take a dignitary from point A to point B, and hilarity ensues in between.
All part of the job.
Yes. This to me is like when I talk about it, like, oh, this is the courtroom episode. This is the time travel episode. To me, this is when I watched it the second time, I was like, oh, this is the Deep Space Nine episode.
Oh, no. So it's not, was it Journey to Babel, the one with Sarek where someone ended up dead?
Yes.
In the same kind of way. Okay. Yeah.
But
it's not like Journey to Babel. Now we're in full Deep Space Nine.
This one is half of the episode is flashbacks to the Klingon War, to a specific battle in the Klingon War. where both M'Benga and Chapel served. Because on that moon, Jagal, the guy that is now a dignitary is a Klingon defector who was in charge of the Klingon occupation of that moon.
And is this a moon in Federation space that the Federation
disputed
is
territory
defending?
during the war? So it had a Federation colony, and it became just sort of like a constantly shifting border.
For the listener, Matt is oscillating his hands in a graceful manner like a sea anemone underwater.
Yeah.
It's a shimmy of border disputes.
The more they talk about this Klingon war in Strange New Worlds, despite the fact that it was at least played up in Discovery in the prior shows as an existential threat to the Federation, like we either win this or the Federation falls.
No pressure.
Yeah, it is more characterized in the experiences of the people who served during the war as more of a World War I thing, of like nobody was going to win or lose this thing, and a lot of people died for needless reasons.
Okay, so now I was going to say, why is this a thing that Star Trek is exploring in even this moment in 2023? But it is highly useful right now to have a reminder that doing that kind of stuff is a terrible idea for the world.
Yeah. And
I was like, World War I, what are we doing? And I was like, we're potentially going to unlearn the lessons of the Great War and its successors and the devastation that those things create.
No, it's the one of my favorite lines from Hunt for Red October, where Ramius, played by Sean Connery, is talking about his experience being a sailor, of like, my entire life I've been in a war, and he says there were no victories, only casualties. And he talks about the fact of like his wife had recently died, and he's the fact that he spent his whole career at sea fighting this war that no one was ever going to win, and only really people have died in. And he finishes that thought with, "I widowed her the day that I married her."
Oh my God. I kind of knew that was a masterpiece when I was watching it in a theater, but wow.
Delivered by Sean Connery.
Incredible.
But yeah, so, and weirdly enough, there's a little bit of that vibe in this, because it is very much of, there's the members of the Enterprise crew who served during the Klingon War and experienced those atrocities. And the Enterprise ship, Pike and a lot of the other crew had actually been sent off on deep space exploration, so they missed the entire boat on the war and did not have those experiences.
And does this affect their approach to calamities in Star Trek going forward, or their relationships, their interpersonal relationships, but not their command decisions?
It very much affects their approach when this particular guy shows up on the ship to be taxied.
Sure.
So there's M'Benga, Ortegas, and Chapel are the veterans and are really struggling to get over, to try to wrestle with their own personal experiences and feelings about Klingons and the war and everything else, to be able to put on a face to roll out the red carpet for this guy. And tensions rise high. Eventually, they decide to try to shorten the trip. But ultimately, we learn that this guy earned a moniker, the Butcher of Jagal, for committing war crimes, but also, before he defected, killing all of his own lieutenants before defecting. And we learn that he wasn't actually the one who killed all of his own lieutenants. M'Benga took the super soldier serum, went on a super secret mission, and tried to kill him, but he ran away while his lieutenants bought him time while he ran away.
So it's the horrors of World War I plus kind of Delta Force.
Yes.
Modern warfare of like, you order a strike like you're ordering a pizza.
Yeah.
And
which is part of the stuff that I was like, okay, here we go. And
also very germane. Apparently, this just happened.
I know.
Did you hear about this thing?
Which
fishermen, North Korea?
No, I know that they do all sorts of, but
I don't want to bring down the listeners to this. If they might be listening to this for escapism.
We're in the war. We're already talking about the war episode, and I'm going to get to a thing that I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this.
Okay,
so,
good. Well, good. Okay, I don't feel so bad about bringing us all down then.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So then we learn that because he's interacting directly with M'Benga, and at some point, this guy, Ambassador Dokra, I think is his character's name.
He is made of okra.
He's like, no, we can show that we can, heal these wounds and be friends or whatever. And M'Benga wants none of it because this dude's a war criminal who was essentially responsible for killing civilians and all sorts of other stuff outside of the usual atrocities of war. And
standard issue.
And it gets to a point where like we don't see it directly on screen, but they get into a scuffle and M'Benga kills the ambassador, but they play it off as the ambassador started the fight and M'Benga killed him in self-defense.
Okay.
And
Do
so
they still have the Hippocratic Oath in the 23rd century?
Well, yeah,
I just don't know why it's M'Benga. Why did they pick his character to be
the Spec Ops
Chuck
guy?
Norris guy? Or like, I don't know. Was Chuck Norris in Delta Force? I can't remember.
Yeah, he was in Delta Force.
Yeah, okay. So the Chuck Norris guy.
Yeah.
Why? What is this?
I don't know. And so
it's interesting, but I just wonder what the rationale is.
I don't know. I think at some point they are trying to make the argument for why he is not the chief medical officer of the ship when McCoy shows up, because M'Benga does show up later on in the series, but he's not the CMO.
Well, the thing I loved about the episode where he shows up in, and again, memory not functioning, but where he is the Vulcan expert, and McCoy is deferring to him, like made sickbay feel like a large institution.
Yeah.
And so why does anybody have to be the chief? I guess you have to have a chief medical officer, but you can have many equivalent doctors with realms of expertise.
Yeah. And so but I guess they're trying to lay groundwork for a reason why he would, I guess, step back.
Yeah.
But
spend more time with his family.
Yeah, his daughter that became a Nebula.
Yeah. I forgot she's a Nebula.
Yeah,
too. Man, this is a risk. This is an OSHA hazard. You might become a Nebula or be menaced by one, or menace one.
If you're feeling like a Nebula, contact a doctor.
That's right. Oh.
But the core themes of the episode are: you cannot explain the experiences of war to someone who's never been in one. And also the damage that is done to someone who has survived a war, who's a veteran of war. The argument that the episode is making is that it can never truly be fixed. Only there's a line where where M'Benga equates his experiences as a veteran to this biobed that keeps breaking down. And at the end of the episode, he's like, the biobed's fixed for now, but some things can never truly be repaired, only managed. And I'm like, okay, but if we're going to use the biobed as the metaphor, if the biobed can't be fixed, you replace the biobed. And I don't know what that says about veterans.
Yeah. It is beautiful that again, Star Trek in the pure Roddenberry sense, he was trying to get away from militarism, and he was upset when in the Harv Bennett years when they just absolutely damned the torpedoes and sailed straight into militarism.
Oh yeah.
But it makes sense to address the experience of veterans in a show like this, but it just seems like you're right. It's the particulars of it. Again, what do I know? I'm not, this show is wonderful. I have never been anywhere near war yet. So maybe I'm totally wrong, but I totally see what you're saying.
Yeah, and Pike is very much of the opinion of like, no, we can get past this. And he has a conversation with M'Benga about it where that's Pike's thing, and M'Benga says like, you believe that because you didn't have to fight in a war.
Yeah.
And I was never in the service. I never fought anywhere. Like, so I can't say that's not true.
Yeah. But you're saying, so the metaphor of this biobed, you're saying they're saying you have to manage the difficulties going forward, the damage.
When that anyone who is in a war is permanently damaged. And I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, speaking of like, this is the DS9 episode, DS9 would very much play in this space and would sometimes make that argument. Like they did episodes about, like the last 3 seasons of Deep Space Nine took place during a war.
Yeah.
And like terrible things happened.
Yeah.
So I wrestle with it, and I don't know. I haven't spoken directly with anybody who's a war vet to be able to speak on like whether they feel like this speaks to them in a way that it may not to me. But yeah, it's a heavy episode.
Yeah. And the idea that just it is impossible to heal.
Yeah, because then what does that say about trying to fix anything?
Yeah. And also, what does it say about the nature of life? You know, like, again, Star Trek is not a beacon here. It's nice that it's reflecting our world potentially, but it would be nice to think also that it had some ideas about what to do to fix this, to heal this.
Or at least to express that it's possible, it's hard, and it's difficult, but it's possible, and it's more rewarding than not trying.
Yeah.
Like that would be the message I would have preferred to have come out of it, but instead we got a dead ambassador.
Oh yeah, and so you're saying the finale, spoiler, I mean, I hope I'm not ruining this for anybody, but just like that person does end up dead in vengeance for his war crimes.
Yeah, and like the way that they set it up of like, if he's supposed to be a Federation ambassador and everybody's supposed to like give him whatever, but I would like to believe, like it's a conceit of the story, but like I would like to believe, even if he defected, if he was a war criminal who committed war crimes, they would not make him an ambassador. They would try him for war crimes.
Yeah.
And at the very least, he would go through that due process and there would be some level of justice being applied.
Yeah.
And so the fact that doesn't happen and that there's this just sort of like, he killed kids, whatever. You know, sit across a dinner table with him. I was like, if that was the case, I'd be pissed off too.
Yeah. But and so who kills him ultimately? What's the...
It's supposed to be left ambiguous in the episode, but M'Benga kills him in a scuffle.
Which is, I think, a war crime?
Yeah, I mean, or murder.
Yeah, what in the world?
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
It comes back to haunt him in season 3 a little bit, but not necessarily like in any great... Not in the way even number 1's genetic engineering came back to haunt her.
It's interesting. Again, my note, it's all so foggy, but I have written down a reboot of MASH where Trapper John gets in a knife fight with founding North Korean President Kim Il-sung.
Yep.
And then I wrote down, where does this come from?
Yeah.
Like, it's very interesting. I don't know from nothing, but it just does strike me as an interesting direction.
Yeah. And Clint Howard is the head of the MASH unit in the flashbacks, which I thought was amusing. But it's half of the episode takes place during the war in a flashback, and trying to figure out how I feel about what it at least is ostensibly saying.
Yeah,
I think it's important to say like the one of my favorite lines from The West Wing is all wars are crimes.
Yeah,
but also like when the fighting is done, one of the fatal unlearned lessons of World War I that got us into the Second World War is there were no attempts at trying to mend, and it was much more about reparation or about who was wrong and who was right and who has to pay who to settle the bill, and that created the environment that led us to World War II.
Yeah.
And it was, I would argue, aside from the fact that 2 of the world's superpowers had atomic weapons, but some of the lessons of like, no, we should have an international relationship with everybody so that before we get to this point, we talk, and we may have adversarial relationships with other nation states, but we're going to at least try to have a conversation first. And it seems to me that the episode is saying like the people who fought in the last war can't participate in the peace.
Yeah, or even live in the era.
Yeah,
We got it. Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know if that's a good lesson to learn, especially. And I don't know. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
It was a difficult watch. It very much harkens back to episodes DS9 would do, where it's again like, yeah, I'm going to conspire behind everybody's back and trick a rival into being our ally in a war because it's going to save our skin.
Yeah.
And I'll be okay with it, despite the fact that I'm supposed to be a decorated Starfleet officer and espouse all the ideas of the Federation.
Yeah. Does the word so again the reminder of what World War I is very useful for now, but it two things. One, it doesn't seem to conclude. It doesn't reach the same conclusions you do. And
the
so
episode?
I'm as bewildered as you. Yeah. So it's a valuable reminder, but then the course of action it suggests is perhaps not so helpful. But it also looks like it gets a little confused about what war it's mirroring, because there is, I guess maybe they felt it was a 60s show. There's a lot of Vietnam in here too. I have a note about a shuttlecraft doing a caisson approach.
Yep.
And we are in the suck.
Yep.
Complete with Federation domino theory and a blood-spattered Nurse Chapel massaging hearts.
Yep.
And then I wrote down, am I gonna make it, Sarge?
Yeah, there's that character too. They throw in the trope of like the character, they literally give him a heart massage, and then like he goes off to be in the vanguard of guys that are immediately going to get killed no matter what, because he's doing his duty. I was like, so that you can be like, no, this is all wrong. It's like, oh God.
Yeah, yep.
What show am I watching?
Yeah, quote, and I don't remember who said this. We have to fight so people at home can live in peace. That's Starfleet. And then I wrote, it is?
It's that character.
Okay, gotcha. So it isn't like the narrator says at this point. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's a melange of bad situations in war. And I understand, like, Star Trek should talk about those things in a way that's effective and in a way that make the audience uncomfortable. But I would also want it to have a meaningful message at the end of it. And this one was just like, nah, things are just going to be broken. So, like, deal. Which in 2025 is not the message that anybody needs right now.
Yeah, and we have Chapel telling Benga, like, again, this is the hero of the piece talking to the other hero of the piece. Quote, you make them pay.
Yeah.
Unquote. I don't know, man.
Yeah. And he takes his super soldier serum and like all that stuff. Like, and it felt, again, atonal with what I feel we're supposed to know about Star Trek.
Well, speaking of that, we have Mr. Tranya himself, Clint Howard, as the chief medical officer, Buck, in charge of this whole literal shooting match.
Yep.
In that episode, which he's in, third episode, it's about spinning.
Corbin Might Maneuver.
Corbin Might Maneuver
in
is,
Star Trek,
as I remember it, one of the most sort of non-violence promoting, we can work this out episodes in the history of Star Trek.
Yep.
Like, it's very weird that he shows up in this new context.
But
of let's mend fences by having a full contact punch out episode.
Yep.
I clearly struggled with this one too.
Yep. That's the other episode that has the people fighting or doing, Klingon judo in the rec room.
Just constantly boxing in this show. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. I guess it's a shorthand for physical fitness that doesn't feel like as geeky as just being on a treadmill, I guess.
Yeah.
But like but coming from a background of running, like the idea of like on ships, like running just running how many lengths around the ship you run and how fast, like that works too.
Yeah. Frank Poole in 2001.
Yeah, it's
run
also
around the ship.
There's a sci-fi route to it.
Yeah. But I guess it's
more kinetic.
Like
it gives
drama.
the actors more shit to do, and
but still, it just
I know.
I'm a softie. This is my problem, not the show's. But
it's like I said, it's a DS9 episode, and I think that generally, from what I remember from the reaction at the time, I think the people who are much more like, if Deep Space Nine was your favorite show of Star Trek, this episode resonated with you a lot more than if you
Yeah.
were more like a TOS TNG guy.
I see. Okay, so this is the something for everyone theory, but I don't know Deep Space Nine well enough. Like, it was this grim
Towards the end, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Look up the Siege of AR 558.
The fact that it's also called AR, I'm not sure I care for, but there were a couple little emollients in this one. One is that the explosion behind Chapel's head looks exactly like the mind blown emoji.
Yeah.
At one point, that the line in the episode, Kif fought the hardest.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh my god, you mean Zap Brannigan's little pal? I'm sure he's a very spirited fellow. And then I love the duck tog, the knife with the knife that come out.
Yeah.
Everyone always I have zero lethality, but like, are you supposed to turn those, like, switch those on after you've stabbed the person, right? Like,
yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
It's a lot of like, haha, this knife is extra knife.
Yeah, it will do more damage coming out than it went going in. Yes.
Exactly right. So, oh my goodness, what a show.
Yeah, which is, again, why it creates a lot of whiplash, because it's sandwiched in between the comedy crossover and...
The intermix chamber and containment field are stable. I'll get to the warp core and assess its state when I'm able.
Where is that music coming from?
Not from anywhere on the ship.
Apologies, the most confounding thing I appear to be singing.
I have sick bay for you, sir.
Most unusual, so peculiar.
We can confirm there are no injuries, just the daily.
We've moved off of the moon of Jagal and all of its war crimes, and we are now, again, 1 week apart. Now it's a musical.
Okay, so we addressed, question one is, Joss Whedon and Buffy begin this whole thing. Have there been other musical episodes, especially in science fiction and fantasy?
I think other shows have done musical episodes up to this point, and a lot of people had asked, because when they were talking about big swings in different genre episodes, somebody's like, are you doing a musical episode? And eventually they finally got Lise to do it.
Gotcha. And then the other thing before we embark is, did you show Katie, who is very much steeped in theater and in musicals, this episode?
I did. She thought it was cute, I think. She wasn't necessarily crazy about the
Well, didn't they get, like, this became an album that sold really well.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, I mean, they didn't take 5 days to write a solid hour of music. Like, there's more that went into it.
Oh yeah, I actually enjoy the songs for the most part. I think they work for the episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess she probably, there were two songs that have a similar melodic contour, I guess, and she was like, oh, they're just doing the same song over and over again. I was like, no, not really. That's just because these two songs are very related, but I don't think she was reading enough into it to, like, didn't care enough for that.
How did this fare with you? Other than, like, the songs you say are good, and then
I knew it was coming. I knew it was going to be the musical episode. And after the last episode, I was looking for a palate cleanser, so, like, I thoroughly enjoyed it on first watch.
I have a thing in here, like, again, my memories are hazy, but, like, I have theme has Vokes now. So
they do the Glee Club version of the opening theme.
Okay, but that's after. So the first sign of trouble is Spock bursting into song, and then we get the theme with the lyrics. And we don't get, because I guess I was experiencing some real grief about this, but, like,
not the original.
Why not the actual Trek lyrics by Gene, quote, let's split the royalties with Alexander Courage, unquote, Roddenberry. But what's the Glee Club thing? What's
it's so they do an a cappella version of the theme as opposed to the orchestral version.
Okay. Oh, a cappella, but it does have words, and those words are not.
No, they just do straight up, just bum 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 bum. That's it. There's no actual words in it.
I suppose that's fair, but I would love to have heard the musicians of our time doing the Roddenberry lyrics.
Oh yeah. I've read them once and I was like, Jesus Christ.
There's really something, but again, I don't think. I think he wrote them in a minute.
Yeah.
To try to, muscle in on Mr. Courage's royalties, but
as was his
whatever. Like, way to go, Gene.
Yeah. It would have been funny if they did do it, but unfortunately they didn't. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a breath of fresh air. Again, I know that there was we had to come up with some weird excuse for us to be singing. Fine.
Yeah. I mean, that's a note here too. The crisis is that they are singing, so a lot of the singing is about singing.
Yes.
So maybe that's part of why Katie felt like they were doing the same song over and over again.
Yeah.
Mbenga is again hilarious when he says, "I would prefer not to be a bunny either."
Yeah, so because they talk about how this is like an improbability something or other, and so at some either we'll start singing or we could all turn into bunnies, and then that's when he says, "I would prefer not to be a bunny."
This is the touch point with the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and the infinite improbability drive, because I guess they refer to an improbability field in which we could all become bunnies.
I think that's how they kind of connected it together.
It says, in his first draft, Star Trek II, Dr. Carol Marcus was Dr. Janet Wallace from the Deadly Years.
Oh.
I guess that's the...
So this is the episode where... So part of the thing is with the musicals, people are uncontrollably singing about their emotions and secrets and feelings. So La'an wants to get ahead of that before because she's had this little bit of a crush on Kirk since her time travel incident. And she has a little bit of that too in the Lost in Translation episode where Kirk's on the ship with Uhura.
Yeah.
And so after she realizes that people are going to just start singing out their feelings, and she is a very buttoned up character, that she has to just tell him and be honest with him. And so she does talk about that, but we learn from Kirk that he is in an off again, on again relationship with someone that he is on again now because she is pregnant.
And her name is Janet.
No, he says Carol. Yeah,
it's Carol. Okay, gotcha. So
and he says, actually, I think you'd love Carol. You're both very dedicated, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, so it's intimated that David's in the oven as this episode airs.
That makes sense. Okay, gotcha. But then why am I say in first draft of Star Trek II, Carol was Dr. Janet Wallace from the episode The Deadly Years, according to the new Wrath of Khan making of book by John and Maria Jose Tenuto. She is an endocrinologist who, along with Bones, cures the rapid aging disease.
Yep.
But also has a thing for people way older than she is. Kirk says, "You're only flirting with me because your husband was 26 years older than you." Why did I write this down? Other than it's Carol.
I mean, they brought in the love interest. I wonder if I don't know. Is there a Janet in the episode that maybe they tried to I have
no idea. Again, clearly I was having trouble with the musical nature of the episode.
Well, I guess that's the other thing. Do you enjoy musicals at all?
I do not.
Okay,
I have a real allergy to musicals, which is unfair because they are often works of genius. I appreciate, for example, Stephen Sondheim.
Yeah.
Even that can get I remember Into the Woods is a tearjerker, even if you have an allergy to musicals.
Yeah.
But I think maybe that was a bit of a hurdle for me this time around. I don't know.
Yeah,
my memories are spotty of this one.
I think people very much are love or hate with musicals. I used to really not care for them until I retroactively realized that all of the Disney cartoons that I grew up with were ostensibly musicals. I was like, oh,
you bet. Yeah,
so I've gotten into it a little bit. Hadestown is one of the best things I've ever seen on Broadway.
I've never seen it, so yeah, maybe that's going to be the gateway drug between that and the appreciation for things like Sondheim. But yeah, when you were trying, we were doing some family archaeology, trying to find our beach house in New Jersey from before you were born, but when I was about 5 or 6. And that summer, the first summer I can remember going there, it was the double feature of Return of the Jedi and Annie. And I remember as a kid loving Annie. Finding the bridge stuff sort of scary at the end, but other than that, really enjoying the music. But yeah, I think maybe in my old curmudgeonly years, they're a little tougher for me. But okay, so it works, but it's a nosebleed creating switch from.
Well, it's because you've the bread of the sandwich that is the assassination of a dignitary is the comic cartoon crossover episode and the musical episode. So it's just like this, whoa.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the potential pitfalls of the show is kind of what we talked about earlier of like, you have character continuity, but from episode to episode, you could be doing something completely different. But because you're tethered by those characters and that continuity, it gives you more whiplash than the original series where it was like, every episode is kind of its own contained thing, and whether it relates to any other episode is tertiary.
Yeah.
To the rest of it.
And the characters can bend a little bit.
Yeah.
Within.
I mean, we talk. The mission log guys talk about the gumbification of McCoy of like whether he's going to be a down-home doctor who wants to fix you up a mint julep, or like a hard-nosed, like science-first biomedical guy. Depends on the episode and what we need for him.
When I'm trying to remember the hard-nosed moments for Dr. McCoy.
The like in Miri when like they're stuck on the plan, he's trying to come up with like whatever, synthesize this and that. Like there's moments where it's like he's all business, whatever, and then there's the fancy, settle down, I'll shake you up a cocktail or whatever, and like has a little bit of that Mississippi lilt.
Yeah.
But
no, that is I've been in those moods though. I can
so I can't fault him. But I think that's part of like the weirdness of just like Mbenga's cracking one-liners about not wanting to be a bunny and just committed murder.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of like, I am meeting these in their individual spaces, and it's difficult to keep them all connected in one string.
Well, thank God every actor on this thing is a genius, because it's amazing how well they weather that. And then how do we resolve the singing? I forget what the final solution. Hang on, cut that out. I forget what the final remedy is for that.
They have to resonate everybody's song to a certain level, essentially, to create a feedback loop and close the improbability hole, essentially.
Okay, so
they have to get everybody singing in a big finale. That's essentially the point. So that's when they get everybody on the ship singing, and then they hail the Klingons, and the Klingons do a K-pop number.
Why have you? Why you only calling us when you got your dramas? One of these days we'll repay you, we'll slay you. Gonna draw your last breath at the end of my glance. Your eternal torture is every Klingon dream. You know what I mean? Break the screen.
K-pop.
Everybody,
they did this out?
They shot two different versions.
Okay.
They shot one where they did Klingon opera, which would have made sense for Klingons.
Sure.
And one where they were like, K-pop is funny because K-pop.
Sure. But do they refer to it as such?
No, but
Thank goodness.
Yeah. No,
Thank the maker. Wrong show.
Yeah. So
that's a funny joke then if people get, I don't know, again, living under a rock, I'm not sure I'd be like, oh, that's K-pop.
To me, it was just, it sounds like a pop song, a modern pop song. So it was still a little atonal, but
it's dissonant pop.
Yeah.
Okay, so we fix it with that sounds like a great,
Yeah, they do. And Uhura is a core character because she's the one keeping everybody in communication and like all of that. And it was fun and had.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, didn't have a lot of major consequences. It's designed to be kind of a silly episode, and another weird tonal shift break from what's coming after.
It is funny watching my mind melt in my notebook here, where it's like, first draft of the Wrath of Khan is this character is that character. I'll make it through a musical. So where do we end up? So do we have another nosebleed? Because hegemony is the number 10 here.
Because then the Gorn invade.
You're gonna start the engine sometime soon, Erica?
You gonna backseat drive me, sir? I'm waiting till we're under 1,500 meters. Just stay below their scans. Don't worry. I did this 100 times during the war. I thought you were a test pilot.
I was.
Come on, it's like riding a bike.
Speed of light. Whew, you were born for this, Erica.
That's what it was. Okay, gotcha. But that's also that's grim and goofy in equal proportions. Although I guess these Gorns are scarier.
It's a serious episode because it's alien invasion, whatever, and people are getting killed and things like that. But it's more action oriented than like rumination, like the other one was.
Yeah, wringing our hands. Yeah, have we had again, trying to sort out my memories. End of the first season was also a Gorn thing. Where I was like really upset because it was so alien. But then I found the thing in Gene Roddenberry's notebook where it's like, oh yeah, it's as if it's like the way insects lay eggs inside a person. Like so.
That was
Star
the end.
Trek
It was a Gorn episode, and then that's when Hemmer died, the first chief engineer.
That's right, and he got to come back as zombie Hemmer and
in the
reassuring ghost Hemmer and hallucination Hemmer.
Yep.
I'm glad. I miss Hemmer a lot.
Yeah. I was so bummed when he died.
Oh, he's the best.
Not that I don't enjoy Carol Kane.
Oh yeah, they're all great, but why couldn't we have Hemmer and Carol Kane?
Yeah.
2 engineers.
Yeah. I mean, now we're going to have 2 engineers anyway because Scotty joins the show in this episode.
Lovely. That's right. So, okay, my first note, totally incoherent to me, Mount Parnassus, where the Muses lived. Why did I write that down? Am I still recovering?
B is the name of the planet.
Oh, the Muses lived there. Why don't the Muses? Yeah. I don't know. I'm just like, again, I think I'm recovering from the musical and...
Parnassus Beta, sorry. Just outside Federation space.
Yeah. It's the subaltern. It's the not quite as good Parnassus here.
Conveniently designed to look like a small town in the old Midwestern United States, so they could still shoot in the Toronto suburbs.
Again, classic.
Yeah, no, this
Star
is
Trek.
old Star Trek. Like, this is to its core, like what they do.
We got this backlot to do a 30s thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens in this one now?
They're outside Federation space, and the Gorn decide to attack this colony because they've decided to redraw their border. So they invade while Captain Patel's ship is there administering medical vaccines to the population.
Okay, so we're hitting on some current day stuff,
yes.
Even though it's got a kind of dream logic to it. We're redrawing districts. There's vaccines.
Oh, yeah.
I'm starting to sweat over here.
And
I came here for escapism.
You're right. Chapel is with that crew because was accepted to the program with Roger Corby, so they were going to like drop her off after they were done with this mission. So now they're both stuck on the planet. Pike finds out, and they send the Enterprise over to see what happens. And by the time they get there, Batel's ship, the Cayuga, is just a dead Hulk in space.
Oh, there's a lot of those in Star Trek too.
There are a lot of those in Star Trek.
Yeah, I relate.
So they have to conspire to Ortega sneaks a shuttle down to go find people, and that's when they meet Scotty. And they learn that the Gorn are going on some major push because of they've been triggered because the Gorn, we learn in one of the other episodes in the first season that the Gorn communicate or are responsive to EM radiation, like beyond light. And a recent coronal mass ejection has caused this activity from them.
How do we communicate? I'm not remembering. There must have been an amazing tech detective.
Oh, there was a whole I am shortening this to.
Yeah.
It took them the whole episode to figure this out.
Oh my god! At least it was a puzzle. Like that. That's dramatic.
Yeah. So they're the Gorn have essentially pushed on this mass invasion feeding frenzy, and so the Enterprise is there to kind of stop it, to make sure that the Gorn don't keep pushing into Federation space. But obviously, Pike is there to save Batel and Spock wants to find out if Chapel died, because one of the good little, if you don't know that Chapel's in the original series, Chapel beams back up from the planet to the ship right before the shit hits the fan. So we don't know her fate when you see the broken up saucer of the Cayuga in space. Yeah. So they go down to the planet. The Gorn are in their feeding frenzy thing. There's kind of like a zombie movie thing going on because they have to hide away from the Gorn. But the Gorn have something on the planet that's blocking them from beaming back up, talking to the ship, and so they have to conspire to try to fix that. And at the same time, they're trying to figure out how to destroy it from space by turning the saucer of the Cayuga into falling debris so that the Gorn don't notice that it's anything worrisome, and set it to actually crash into whatever's on the planet.
Yeah.
So they're doing that
strategy. That'll work.
Oh yeah. I mean, it works. But and then
all the close-ups of the Enterprise in this show suggest that it is made of cast iron.
Right.
So I imagine that fragments of the Cayuga are going to do some damage.
Yeah. And there's a ton of surviving colonists that they're trying to be able to beam back up. And during that time, we learned that Batel had gotten sprayed or bitten by a Gorn, so she has the infection that Hemmer had.
Oh, yeah.
So she has like a day and a half until they chest burst. So we get to the end of the episode. They throw the Cayuga at the Gorn thing, take all that stuff out, and are able to communicate and get shields up. They're able to beam a few people up, but the Gorn actually beam up the rest of the colonists and a group of Enterprise crew members who were down there. I think it's Ortegas, M'Benga, La'an, and Sam Kirk.
Okay.
And take them away, and the ship the Gorn ship that's in orbit starts beating the piss out of the Enterprise, and Pike has this moment of uncertainty, not knowing what to do, and then it goes to be continued.
Oh, wow. Okay, so this is the best of both worlds experience that you were talking about.
By the way, there's a writer's strike. By the way, you're not going to see the conclusion to this for 2 years.
This is straight out of Galaxy Quest.
Oh, yeah. Activate the Omega-13.
Wow. Okay, so I'm now, this is all coming back to me.
Yep.
Let me just review. It's again weird little details.
Yeah.
Scottish accent. I wrote yay in all caps when Scotty showed up. There's a sound advance. The Spockoscope makes an appearance.
Oh yeah, he has his scope that he's looking for stuff at his science station.
It's apparently enormous in this one, which is kind of great.
Yeah.
I was worried he might fall into it. The rocket makes threatening crystal method big beat bass noises, I guess. Huh. Alex Times computer voice sounds very mother.
Chapel is in one of the air pockets on the Cayuga, and so she wakes up and it keeps giving this alert of like oxygen depleting, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And then there's a Gorn on the Cayuga that's trying to do something, and it keeps saying like invalid code, permission denied, invalid code, permission denied.
Yeah, the Gorn says, I turned the cooling circuits back on, mother. Speaking of war crimes, I have written in my notes, Batel has been gorned.
Yes.
She's a Gorner.
Yep.
This is from Alien 3, Why the Aliens Don't Attack Ripley, who's carrying a queen.
They literally just do that sequence in the episode, which I can't fault them for because...
I mean, again, Gene got there first, according to that notebook I found.
Yeah.
Let's see. Pike sadly vacationing there by himself. He's going on another solo vacation here. Pike sadly vacationing there by himself with the Opelian Mariner's Keystone.
That's the token, the totem that Batel gifted him early on that helped him find his way in the episode where he lost his memory.
Do they literally say, quote, they're in a building 2 clicks south by southwest, unquote?
They may.
They're at a prestigious music and film festival where the Gorn are
It's not based
they're
after the
shortest
Midwest.
screening.
It's based after Austin, Texas.
That's right. They're in the Midnighters block, but I don't know if we have time for that.
Yeah.
Oh boy, it's going to be a cliffhanger.
Let's hide in the Alamo Draft House.
Oh yeah, I guess I didn't see this coming, but I wrote down, oh boy, it's going to be a cliffhanger. There's 30 seconds left and things are still blowing up.
Yeah. So, and
Wow.
this so far has been the only cliffhanger in Strange New Worlds.
Yeah. But will it be the last? We don't know. You saw season 3. Did it end with a...
The end of season 3 is upcoming, so I don't know.
Oh, you don't know. That's right. We're on 9. How many? Is it a full 10 this time around?
Yeah, full
too?
10. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
But yeah, so they do conclude it in the first episode of season 3. But
Okay.
But yeah, like that's where they left off, right in the middle of 2 strikes, and then we knew that we weren't going to see the conclusion of that for quite a while.
I mean, this so far is the most State of Star Trek reflecting our moment, in that I don't know what's going to happen next, but I guess it doesn't work for everybody, because once you get to 3, the end of 3, it's set.
Yeah. They well, to their credit, in 3, they don't try to tie completely everything up in a bow.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, one of the mistakes that a lot of the 2-parters in Star Trek especially have made, of like trying to solve all of the problems in the 40-minute episode that you set up in the first 40 minutes.
Well, now, so, okay, like now that I've reviewed the notes, now, it's like Khan sitting in his metabed catching up
Yeah.
on the future with his little TV screen.
Yeah.
I think I know where my sense of this season abandoning Utopia to a certain extent happens, because it's the super grim Deep Space Nine episodes, but then very whimsical escapist episodes, and not much. Like, I can't think of anything as like transcendent and hopeful as
the message.
even.
The message episodes happen very early on in very one-off ways.
We just have the courtroom thing, and it's not a full win. It kind of highlights where society is not working in a utopian fashion, but it's like one little win to keep continuity. So yeah, maybe that's what I was thinking. That
probably, yeah.
Like, maybe it's not terrific, the world.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where I'm at right now, too, and living in ours.
Yeah, I feel that.
It feels like a slight abandonment of utopia. Unless I'm missing anything. Were there other
No, I think, and that's
glimmers?
a general problem that modern Trek has, is I don't want to, because there are people who are diehard fans of this portrayal of Star Trek and the Federation, believing that this is the best way to show the social commentary. But yeah, for me, it obviously it's the opinion of the writers, because that's the way that they're writing these stories. But yeah, I was always much more of the, I want to see competent people solve problems, and the problems not necessarily be systemic.
Yeah, and now more than ever, you want to turn to Star Trek to see competent people solving problems.
Yeah, because like at this point, I'm starved for it. So
Yep.
There are rare in-world institutions in recent memory where I've seen competent people solve problems in quite some time.
Yep.
So like, yeah, I want wonks, for lack of a better term, to like be running around and fixing things like that. That's what and yes, we need to do the social commentary stuff, but usually it was like in the way of, we go to a planet where this problem is happening, or we're having this problem with an external force and have to work things out in a certain way. And I mean, you still have to have, your characters still have to be flawed human beings, but like they should be able to overcome those flaws to accomplish big things. Because if you don't believe that at your core, what are we doing here?
Yeah. And then I guess it's distressing to see these two little hints that, Sam Kirk is a failure because he's an accomplished xenobiologist, and Vulcans are stuck up because they are logical and think they're better than the rest of us. Like, let us hope that those little embers die out.
Season 3, I think, has been more of the escapist stuff than the message stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's necessarily done much more of the deconstructionist, like Federation bad actually stuff. So I can at least appreciate that to a degree. There is a little bit more of Vulcans are dicks. There's a whole episode about that, but based off of the reaction that people had to that episode, hopefully they adjust.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah. I did see a little hint. I saw Patton Oswalt in Vulcan makeup. For season 3. So is that the same episode?
That's
is that
the same
Vulcans
episode.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed him being in the episode, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was won over. He's the most adorable Vulcan, it seems, who has ever graced the screen. So looking forward to that one.
Any last licks for season 2?
I was going to say, this is kind of the mood of it, right? Like, I just feel the state of Star Trek and the world are a little bit like...
in flux.
What are your hopes?
For Star Trek?
For both.
I mean, for the world, I hope, the world will go on, I think.
That's very optimistic. I don't know if I'm quite that cheery.
Well, I mean, we'll see how things go for here, but...
I say this in jest. It is an important value of mine never to spread despair, never to spread fear. And so, yes.
What's the line that Pike gives in Hegemony? Hope is a choice?
Hope is a choice.
Yeah.
That's pretty grim, though. Buck up, soldier. Hope is a choice. Like, I want something a little more encouraging.
Yeah. Yeah, I do want that from my Star Trek, and I hope that maybe I get some more of it. The last however many years has been mostly having to readjust those expectations. I wonder if it'll need to go to somebody else to be able to say the things that I would hope for it to be saying.
Is there a voice right now in the culture, in entertainment, that you would put in charge that it does provide the thing you're looking for?
I mean, I don't know if you would never be able to do it, and I don't know if he would be the right person either, but going back to letting Ronald D. Moore come back and give his sort of pitch would be intriguing.
Where he is right now, do you think it would be Deep Space Nine style, though, or Battlestar Galactica style?
I don't know, and that's the thing, because he's done both of those now fully, and he did For All Mankind, which is definitely not utopian. And he grew up loving the original series and loving the movies, and was a writer on TNG, when he was cutting his teeth. So I like to think that knowing he was going into Star Trek would want to give it more of that attitude.
Yeah. Is Ronald D. Moore famously, or is it Brandon Braga, or is it neither of them, one of the members of the kind of free submissions model of Star Trek The Next Generation? So maybe that's the answer. Like, let's find some new trainees.
I got a spec script.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Send me your spec script. If only it were open now. But I think that's the answer. I think it'd be nice to have, what is it? Young voices, fresh ideas.
Yep. Yeah.
It's a line from Star Trek 3.
Young minds, fresh ideas.
Young minds, fresh ideas. That's right. I think that's the answer. And it's also fun it's fun to think of what, I think about this all the time. Like, where would Star Trek go from here? Like, what would be the thing without some of the faults we're talking about that might be kind of a beacon?
Yeah.
But it's a dim time somewhat, so I'm not sure I've answered that question for myself.
Yeah.
So, but hopefully soon.
I mean, we're on even ground. I have to at least acknowledge that I am glad that there is still new Star Trek being made, because we've been in periods where that isn't happening. But yeah, I think so long as, it's the idea of like, just keep going and find ways to improve the situation.
Yeah,
which
preferably
is something
from Canada if possible.
Yeah, and sometimes changing your situation and or zip code is that improvement. So we'll see.
That's right. Well, yes, indeed. Here. Godspeed. What do they say? They don't say Godspeed like the Apollo people. What's the? They don't say Excelsior because that's actually another cursed ship. What's the way people wish each other well in Star Trek?
I don't know. I don't know if it's live long and prosper is really the.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go with that.
Yes.
Live long and prosper. Let's see if we can. And the coda, the other verse of that, which is let's see if we can pull that off.
Yes, exactly.
I love that. You're dead too. Sorry. It's a horse with a broken leg. You're fine, but I'm still shooting you and replacing you.
Yeah. Which there's a moment in season 3 where Captain Pike uses that as a metaphor based off of a story of something that happened to him when I was a child. It's like, yeah, but it's the 23rd century, so you shouldn't have to shoot the horse, right? Because you have hand wand wavy fixed bone thing.
It's just important to us as a society to continue shooting horses, even though we could save it. It's just got to be this way.
It's a cultural distinction.
They dematerialize it with a phaser. Poor thing.